cares? I mean, geez.
We might get sued if we yell that.
Where's the yell?
What are we yelling? Hello, everybody. We are live, and yeah, this is Reseller Happy Hour, where we don't really give a shit about production. I mean, you know, that's pretty much how it goes here. So yeah, we're 4 full-time resellers. If you haven't tuned in, according to the chat, I don't see anybody new yet. So yeah, we're 4 full-time resellers. We all dabble in some different things, some similar stuff. We're each in different parts of the country-ish. I guess Jason and Eric are a couple 100 miles apart, maybe.
They're Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're Yankees. They're Confederates.
Yeah.
You can tell Jason's a Yankee by the Facebook post.
We should do like a North versus South show one day. The South will rise again.
Again, Jason's at it again, right? Rising that South. You know?
All right. So yeah, if you have any questions, throw them in the side chat there. We'll copy them into our chat here and read them as we get to them. Guess we'll start how we always start off. Anything interesting this week? Anything big home run items, weird finds, anything like that?
Doing well on slot cars. So.
Slot cars?
Yeah, I picked up some 1960s 124 scale or 125 scale things. Actually, technically what they are, 132 scale. And listed them and sold through almost every lot I had of them. So.
That's good. Yeah.
Those things are so freaking cool, man. I love those things.
Yeah, I mean, I look at those. That's one of those things you sit back and you're like, man, I don't like to keep stuff like that. That's just the neat stuff. But yeah, I got no time for playing like that. But I just think it'd be kind of cool to have stuff like that. If I can't afford like the real cars, maybe I could buy the slot cars. You know.
Yeah, I need to hook this track up real quick and.
I would have. I got a lot of track, but I got no transformer, so kind of screwed there. If I had a transformer, yeah.
Were they branded?
Yeah, they're I had some Strombecker. I actually have a Strombecker set, but I broke the set apart because it's actually better to sell it in pieces. I didn't have a transformer. I had K&B, which are the bigger dollar ones. That's when I got the most money. Some Monogram and Cox, the COX. Huh?
Yeah, you had some cock in there.
Cox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason's all about the Cox. Yeah.
Yes. Pink ones to be exact.
Yep. But it was I paid $90 for it. I broke out, I think, 9 lots, and I made $280 so far off of it. I still have the 2 better lots left, and I haven't even listed the track yet. So I said it'd be between about a $400 and $500 hit when it all said and done. So
cool.
Anybody else? My last fish head. I sold through every one of them. Made $180 on $6 investment with those fish heads.
And it didn't take that long either.
No, that's I listed them. I listed them up, and I sold through 5 lots like a day after I listed them. I listed the next 6 lots I had. Sold 5 more to a different customer, and I had this one lot sitting there. And then the first customer came back and bought them. So,
okay.
If you see weird desiccated fish heads mounted, buy them because they sell quick.
Weird. No, they're talking about putting mugs in a padded flat rate.
You can do what you want, but me personally, if you're selling mugs that bring enough money, just spend the extra, even if it ends up being 2 pounds, and do it right. Presentation is everything.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I've never seen a mug in a flat rate.
That's to send something ceramic without any kind of, I don't know. It's just not my thing. Oops, sorry, I just did the tape. Kind of meant to mute myself. I'm finishing. Still got 11 to ship. I thought I was going to get 1 more in before we started. So.
Would you ship 83 today, or was it 86?
I got 21 as of now going out tomorrow. So, but I got 11 left to ship. So I'm in good shape there.
Well, you shipped about 15 yesterday too, didn't you?
It's not great, man. Yeah, it's okay. This weekend, today really picked up, but of course I just shipped all the easy stuff and left all the hard stuff for tomorrow. All the stuff that fit in a priority flat rate or first class box or envelope. Today picked up. Yesterday was sucky.
Yeah.
Best I've had in April yesterday, but my April's been sucky. So
Friday was pretty good, and then yesterday died down. Today it was really busy in the morning, and then there was a lull, and then right about 7:30 I got in 3 or 4 more. So hit and miss, I guess.
pay the bills.
Yeah. So I've been very busy the past couple of weeks, 3 weeks. This house thing is a pain in my ass.
Mhm.
How are you getting it there?
We're working on getting it. I'm still waiting on underwriting to get back, and then it's got to go for an appraisal, and then we're doing a down payment assistance program, which is another bunch of hurdles we have to jump. So buying a house, being self-employed, there's so much more into it than just showing your W-2 and last 2 pay stubs.
Well, it's a fine line, because obviously as a business you're going to try to write off as much as you can,
right,
to pay. I mean, even if you're even if you're doing it as a corporation or whatever, you're gonna write off as much as you can. And in the days of manual underwriting, they understood that. They took a look at it. They're like, okay, you sold $150,000 on eBay and Amazon. We see what your cost of goods. We see that you took 56 cents a mile and took all these we see how much you're really making versus the write-offs and stuff in those days are just gone. So it's kind of a catch-22, I guess, is a better terminology for trying to write off as much as possible. But then if you need it for loan purposes, sometimes it can kind of screw you too.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna think about buying a house doing this job, you probably got to think about 2 years in advance and say, okay, I'm not going to maximize my write-offs. I need to maximize my shown income, which correspondingly means you're going to end up having to pay a little bit more in taxes every year, just to prove that you can actually show that income. I mean, that's planning. That's all it is. Just planning out. You just can't suddenly just decide to do it. Now, if you have, if your spouse works or something like that, and they have another income, then that's a different story. But kind of a pain.
Yeah. It is, yeah. I mean, for self-employment, they look at your last 2 years of tax returns. So definitely, yeah, plan out 2 years in advance, and plan on showing as much income as you can, depending on the site, the price of the house you want. So. Unfortunately, I had spoken with a mortgage broker back in December. I started talking to her and asking, how much do I need to show to qualify for this much house? And she gave me a number, and that's what I showed, and it ended up being short of what I needed. So we have to scramble and qualify other ways through tax credits and things like that. So yeah, we got screwed over by a lady that didn't really know what she was doing to start with, which is what's making it more stressful now. So that's what I've been doing.
Fun.
Yeah. Apparently Zilke seen my house and Dusty peed in the mailbox.
Yeah, we had to go that direction. So I kind of showed him so that you can't hide from him anymore. But no, but we did curb crawl because it was like trash day the next day.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a little bit to drink after during the last show that Tristan and I did. And then I was jokingly hey, is it wings night or whatever? And he's like, sure, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And so he showed up and we went and had wings. And then we were headed. And then I got a really good free office chair from your neighborhood though.
Oh, cool.
There was a dresser and a nightstand if I wanted it, but we left those because that's pretty much how trash systems work here. They have big trucks that come by and you can just lay things out there. I mean, you have the green can too, but they have extra pickup, so it's pretty
right. Cool. Well, that's good to know because they don't do that here.
Nope.
Thrift School said you made $1 million off of $12 shirts. Liars. Yeah.
Give him a little bit of time. He can show. He can prove it. He'll show you his numbers.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed that all of our titles are incredibly sarcastic, yeah, that's what we do.
Because we figure we might as well point out the absurd of everybody else's titles by being, absolutely more absurd than possible. So
Yep. It's a satire.
kind of like our life.
I did not pee on the mailbox.
In the mailbox. In the mailbox.
In the mailbox.
Yeah, well, I did do that. I stood up in the front of Zilke's van seat and just did it out the window into the mailbox. No, I totally didn't.
We were actually discussing, well, after we moved down, maybe mid to late July, having a cookout and inviting you guys.
Everybody comes over and christens your mailbox.
Yeah, everybody comes. That's a requirement. You have to pee on my mailbox before coming in the house.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But we figure you guys and the Zilkes, and I don't know who else is down there, but
Jason, we're just not allowed to come.
no, you can come if you want. I'm not. Get
We're
there.
just road tripping. That's all. So.
Yeah, just get there.
We can stay in your basement, Jim.
We don't. Apparently, I don't. We don't have a basement, so
Yeah, I forgot.
yeah. I would think that basements would be easier to find there, but apparently they're a little more difficult. They don't make too many houses with basements, especially nowhere.
That's much bedrock around here is probably a lot of it, and just the expense
High
of
water
it.
table.
Yeah, high water table.
Yep.
Well, I ain't staying in that mailbox of yours because I hear that thing's nasty.
Yeah, you definitely.
Lots of limestone, lots of bedrock.
Oh wait, there's the old Bama Inn.
Yeah, stay at the Bama Inn. Yeah. Just ignore that drug dealer right up front. You'll be all right.
Oh, we could stay at the. We could Airbnb the house next to Dusty. It's empty now. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
I think we're all probably tired. We've been working hard, all of us.
So what else is going on this week?
Not a whole lot.
Anybody buy anything exciting?
No.
Exciting.
Well, I tried.
Just listed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been a listing week.
We actually got to go out a little bit more than I was expecting, but we didn't. But I mean, this area you don't find exciting stuff. The most exciting thing I bought was a Plantronics headset.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You are gonna be rich, man.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So exciting.
Kind of that weird time of the year when some of the better auctions have died, and some of the good auctions really haven't kicked it up yet. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been keeping my eye on Auction Zip and what's the other one? Storage Treasures, is that the one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Gov Deals.
Craigslist.
Yeah.
Estate sales.
All that
one.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, my estatesales.net sucks.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. And the estate sales around here, they're just too high priced.
Yeah, I guess there's not much going on. Jim, let's end the show now.
Julie Venerum. So this is big, huge step for me this week. Made a deal with the Hubs. I will liquidate my jewelry stash only if I can go find more. Picking out the very good and doing small flat rate boxes of lots. So that's cool. Clearing house a little bit.
Stash do you have?
Stash of what?
Jewelry. Does you have like garbage pail cans full of it? We said he had any garage sale find of the year Highway Hi-Fi albums, the records that were designed for the car record player.
Oh yeah.
That was,
I can honestly say I don't remember that.
We
Yeah,
had
it was
this
a-
discussion about that one night. We're looking at them online or something, where some of the cars came with them.
Huh.
There's high-end vehicles, Buicks, Cadillacs, Lincolns, I believe. But yeah, I didn't know they made special records for them.
Wow, never heard of it before. Interesting.
Yep.
I'll have to look it up now.
Julie says vintage jewelry, yes. Pails and boxes. So lots of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Julie has just stepped up to the microphone and said, "Hi, I'm a hoarder. My name is Julie."
Imagine having one of those record players in like an old Willys Jeep. My God.
Oh jeez.
It would like skip every other sentence.
They were really kind of cool the way they were set up and everything. So
Well,
I can't remember why we were looking at them. I think one was available at an auction Dusty was looking at or something. I don't remember.
You and I were looking. It was one of y'all, and we were looking them up one night. And didn't they fold down out of the back seat, or no? Or was it the
No, they're in the dash.
Were they? I couldn't remember.
They're either up underneath the dash or one car I know had them in the dash.
Huh.
You pull this thing down and it kind of slides out, and you just put the records on it. No, I mean they weren't designed to be used while you're driving. They were, park your car, go on a picnic, and turn the record player on and play through your car stereo speakers. So.
right. Jack Smack says, I'm sure it's an upgrade option for the i8s.
Oh Jesus, we don't go one show without mentioning a fucking myself, I swear.
Yeah.
No offense, Jack, but
Well, the show's about the only time I even think about the dude. So.
Right. Jennifer says, hey, everyone. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Jack, we just read your, LV. I suck at doing this. Turtle Traders in here. Julie, of course. We mentioned her. Craig Murray. Denim Labels. And the school Mike Fisher. Thom. Steve Scroggins.
Oh,
Zilke's in here. I don't know if he still is, but Eric Gunter, thanks for stopping by. There's actually a lot of chat before the show started. My wife was like, there's like 2 hours to go. What the hell are people doing in there chatting? I don't
They've been
know.
working is what they should have been doing.
Yeah. Is Jason's pink toy the i8 model? Fishing and Picking wants to know.
yeah, I'm not gonna answer that.
Batter Boxes Films says he's been doing well with vintage board games lately. The boxes are odd sizes. Been shipping FedEx Post. Anybody shipping them out on Smart Post? I don't sell board games, so.
I either ship them Smart Post if they're going cross country or if they're local, priority mail.
what's the average board game weigh? 4 pounds.
Yeah.
That seems to be that sweet spot. I mean, of course, it always depends on where you're at in the country, but that kind of seems to be that sweet pot. There you go. That sweet spot where, FedEx Smart Post is actually a viable option. It seems like it's usually in that, of course, like I said, it depends on where you're at in the country, in that 4 to 9 pound, 10 pound range.
Yeah. Every now and again, if it's 3 pounds and I'm shipping to California, Oregon, Washington, some parts of Colorado, I sell to Colorado a lot for some reason. Those will go Smart Post, and I'll save at least a good $3 or $4. So
For me, I mean, if it's over 2 pounds and if it goes to the West Coast, then Smart Post starts to come into play.
Mm-hmm.
If it's over 3, it's definitely worth doing. But I try not to do Smart Post. I mean, a lot of times home delivery is as cheap, if not sometimes even a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a big weird box. I mean, big boxes. I had a couple that I sent out earlier this week that were huge. They're going to California, and Smart Post was actually about $15 more than home delivery.
I've seen that every now and again. But yeah, it depends.
I think it comes in when you get into the post office side of it when you get a big box.
Right.
LB Looper said they had something smart post. It took forever to get here. That's the only drawback, because remember that last tape that I ordered?
Yeah.
They did it that way, and it came out of Ohio. And I was like, I mean, it was like 12 pounds or whatever. And I'm like, there's no way that was, you know.
Well, I had somebody send me something from Ohio where I live at, Smart Post, and it took 5 days to get here.
No.
I could have driven and picked it up in 2 hours.
I feel like when you're shipping it across the country, it's a little more reasonable with the time. But if you're shipping Smart Post more locally or on your side of the country at least, then that's when, you know, something that should take 2 or 3 days can take, you know, a week or more.
Yeah.
Corporal Kaliko said, I have Smart Post as an option, but most people pick priority. I don't offer multiple options.
Neither do I. I offer shipping. You know?
Right.
That's about it. And I use standard shipping as my option, so it'll get there between 1 and 5 days. So it's up to me to pick how I get it there.
Yep. Jeff Davidson says all his board games go priority game box, easier than finding a box that fits. Well, if you're charging shipping, that might be an option. But
what are those? Those are like large flat rate, right? 16.
Yeah, it's a large flat rate box, just like
Yeah.
$14. Yeah, I mean, it's an option if it fits, and you know, if you are charging shipping, even if you don't charge the full boat, I mean, you can definitely. It's a free box. I mean, you can kind of figure out you're taking the cost of the box off of it, so you might only charge $11 or something for it. But.
Yeah. The priority game boxes actually fit very few boxes, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's 24. The priority game box is 24 by 12 by 3.
It's the 12 that gets you screwed.
24 and a hair by 11 7/8 by 3 1/8.
Yeah.
Fits
like
2 average size board games, according to the post office.
Yeah, I don't know what average they're talking about.
Let's see.
Yeah, Toronto Greenhouse is in Canada, so yeah, Pony Express probably is faster than anything else up there.
Craig Murray says, I have 3 games from the 80s that I haven't done any with because I need to verify all the pieces. Each has about 100 pieces, almost like a puzzle. That's where you put somebody in your household to work that enjoys doing stuff like that. When we were sending board games in, that was Tristan's thing, and she would sit down, and most of them usually either on the instructions or if the instructions are printed on the box, will tell you what the content should be and just sit down.
This is the size of board game I like.
Looper says he never used a board game box because it's a large flat rate. So I guess the price. Yeah.
Oh, it is a large flat rate, like $17.85. That's what it used to be, or something, wasn't it?
I think it's 16.
Hold on, I'm gonna go click on it on one of my. I hope I don't accidentally click print label. $16.55.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What's up, Jeff?
I don't know. Hold on. You guys can see me, but I can't see you.
You have to click the cancel button.
You got to click cancel. It's letting you know that
All right.
Google specs don't work anymore or something.
Glad you dressed up for the show.
Yeah. It's formal.
Just got the Spidey outfit off, that's all.
It's warm out here this weekend.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not cool. Not good.
Not good. Oh, you don't have central air over there?
We do. I just we have SDG&E, California electric rates. I don't run it unless it's imperative.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, we had the first $160 energy bill this month, and we run the air conditioning, it goes up to $500.
Whoa.
Jeez.
All right. Thom asks, with all the universities getting ready to let out, do you find anything good from the parents that don't want to haul all the crap home? I really don't. I mean, with colleges letting out, you might get rentals that are getting rid of furniture if you're into, flipping that kind of stuff. But as far as smalls, like, stuff that you can ship, there's really not anything worth it. I mean, you'll see thrift stores, you'll start to see college books coming through, but it's about it.
College book, college clothing. You get some of that, but
Yeah, sweatshirts and stuff, yeah.
yeah.
I see textbooks increase at the garage sales and small meat.
Right.
That's about it.
Beer posters. Yeah.
That's a cool cabinet behind you, Jeff. It holds all your rolls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How deep is that? Like, how big is a roll?
Well, the rolls are 15-inch. I had to customize it a bit so the shelves are slanted. I think it's only like 13 or 14 inches deep. It's a Kia.
Neat.
A Kia.
Everything in this house is a Kia.
Yeah, we're opening up. There's one opening up here in my town in a month and a half.
I love a Kia.
Yeah, they have those great little Swedish meatballs, right?
Oh yeah. I have lunch, and it's not very expensive.
Oh, very cheap. Go there for breakfast too.
Isn't that where, like, I've only been to one once. It's like the
Death
somewhere like in the middle of the store, and you have to like find it or something, right?
That's what I was telling my daughter last time we was there. I'd hate to be in there during a earthquake or a natural disaster because you got to be like a rat in a maze trying to find an exit.
Yeah, that's kind of like I remember. You kind of almost get lost in there.
I don't think there is an exit.
It's the perfect system because they trap you at the front, and as you start to work your way in, you're going to walk past everything they had for sale just to get out. I mean, and that's designed that way. That's perfect. I mean, but it's still cool stuff. I mean,
It's kind of like a thief's worst nightmare too, because you can't just grab the product and run.
nope.
I just hate is you have to go upstairs first.
I always used to get lost trying to when I had to pee. And they'd be like, "Where are you?" "Oh, I'm near the white cabinets or the black cabinets." It's like, okay, well, you have to narrow that down.
They are smart though. They put the couch display right at the top of the stairs, so I can rest once I go up the stairs. Sit down for a bit.
I don't know how they're going to do it. The standalone restaurant. I don't think they'll do very well. But
When are they supposed to be doing that?
that's what Toronto Greenhouse said. They're supposed to open up standard restaurants. And I'm almost like, I'm not buying that.
Meatball and French toast sticks. About it.
That's true. I really don't care for the let's decide everything is a name that nobody can pronounce.
Jelly stuff.
Yeah, just all their different stuff. I mean, you got to be, what's the name of this one or what's the name of that one? And I'm like, I don't know.
The Plugnergoon and the clothes.
The Unterflugengagen.
Yeah. I need my Muppet Swedish chef to help me translate. But yeah, I'll be a frequent shopper.
I've never been to one.
Ah, man.
I've never lived close enough.
the furniture and the cabinets and everything, which are very cool. It's the little things that get you. It's just the little things you're like, I'm never going to need something like that. And oh my God, the little kitchen stuff. I buy these little clips that I use for like everything, and it's a simple little plastic clip. It's like $3 for 20 of them, and they're just the most useful things in the world.
Yeah, I find. I mean, if you need anything for storage or any idea, just go walk around there, and I can make that work. You know, I mean, the rolls of my tape up there, those are IKEA paper rolls for kids. You know, they pull out and do their finger paint on or whatever. And yeah,
When I redo my kitchen, I'll probably do it with IKEA cabinets because it's just so easy.
Yeah, we did. Our whole kitchen's IKEA. I just did my daughter's bed last weekend. And I was having a flare up, and it wasn't a fun time, but yeah. IKEA bed. Our bedroom's IKEA.
Jim, I swear you live next to nothing, right?
I've lived next to everything nobody wants. Like I've got a Trader Joe's. Who cares? Like who cares? I've got a Cons. I don't even know what that is. They keep sending me stuff. There's a Best Buy that turned into like a Best Buy Express, I think now.
You do live near one of the greatest cigar stores on the East Coast, though.
Right?
I thought you were going to say the biggest ball of twine or something.
No. It's straight up 95. And there's also one up. Is it 81? 81 goes. 81 or
85?
85. Maybe that's what it is. They're both right there, and they're right off the highway.
J&R's?
J&R's, that's right.
Yeah.
And it has a walk-in humidor that is bigger than most people's houses.
Yeah. I've been to those once. They're still like a good hour drive.
And that helps Jim how?
They also sell like
buying cigars in there, so
they also sell Western wear and hats.
It's a
big
trading
store.
What it is.
Yeah.
They've got everything, but they're known for having walk-in humidors, which is really funny because downtown Washington D.C. they have a cigar store, and it's completely opposite of what you would expect from a J&R Tobacco.
Uh-huh.
If you walk into that place, it's kind of jinky. There's a lot of Chinese stuff in there. You walk into the one in Washington, D.C., and I've been to it. It is like old world English heavy leather tobacco shop. I mean, it's like, oh, yes, these are $30 cigars. And you're like, but your J&R's down there sells them for like $1.99. So just kind of hilarious, the differences, but it's a cool little shop.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still like a good hour away from the closest one.
Yeah, Turtle Trail knows what we're talking about. So,
Brandon Blazer asks, what got each of you started in reselling?
because I'm unemployable.
Yeah.
Okay, started. Jesus.
I don't know. For me, we owned a restaurant at the time, and when I got a day off or got away for a little bit, I would go hit estate sales and stuff. And eBay was kind of a new thing, and so I was like, "Ooh, I can do that." And I just started kind of selling some stuff on the side, and then realized, "Hey, this could be a hell of a lot easier than running and owning a restaurant." And we just kept doing it more and more, and then it got to the point where it was like, okay, let's sell the restaurant and get out of that. And this eBay thing is really working. Plus, somewhere in there during all that intro, I met a guy at the post office one day that was doing car parts, and he said, "Man, you do eBay too?" And I said, "Yeah." And that blossomed into about a 4-year friendship. He goes, "Well, I got a bunch of stuff that I got more stuff than I could ever list." He was buying out junkyard. And he goes, "You want to take some of it and just give me half the money when it sells?" And I was like, "Okay." And so I took a load of stuff from him and made killer money, like $8,000, $1,500 the first week. And we were making, I was paying myself about $800 a week at the restaurant. And I was like, you know what? This could work.
Yeah,
So,
for me,
that was it.
for me, reselling's always been a fallback. I'd work a regular job, and don't like it, quit, resell a little bit. Then something else comes along, I try that, didn't like it, quit, came back to reselling. And I've worked for major corporations down to like a 2-person office, and I hated it everywhere I went.
Yeah, but I think you only do that so many times before you go, okay, that's it. I'm not going back to work for anybody else.
Yeah, and that's where I, this last run of like 5 years now, that's kind of where I've been. It's like, all right, everywhere I go is shitty, so I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to work for myself. And I actually started buying storage lockers probably more than 5 years ago now, geez. And, got to the point where I opened up my own thrift store, and then before I knew it, eBay was, paying my rent and my, earning me a living, where the thrift store was just like people would stop in, and browse, and maybe they'd buy something, maybe they wouldn't. It was slow. It was a bad location. And I decided, you know what, I can eBay from home. I don't have to pay rent to house all my eBay shit. So closed the thrift store. Now I'm home. I'm on eBay and Amazon. So that's it.
I mean, for me, it's a little different. I like being in the corporate world. I had a good job. I enjoy what I'm doing, but I lost my wife in an accident, and I have a special needs son, and that's difficult to do with the job that I was doing, because I was actually, traveling. I'd be gone 4 or 5 days at a time, and so I couldn't do that job anymore. And I'd always sold on eBay all the way back into the 90s as extra income, and I've been getting back into it more and more while I was still working, and my wife was helping me with it. And so I decided, you know what? Why not just do it full time for a while, see if I like it?
Yeah.
And I do.
Yeah, I think for me it was more my parents' influence. Like my father ran a mail order business, and then they were also heavily into antiques and stuff. So even as like a little kid, I remember going to flea markets and stuff and always hunting around for things. And then, somehow that got intermingled with like eBay. And, I did it part-time for a long time, and then maybe full-time now for, I think about 12 years. And I don't know, that's the short version in a nutshell.
Yeah, I quit my corporate job to become a photographer many years ago, and then photography started tanking, so I needed a backup, and I had done eBay and Amazon a little bit years before, so I started picking it back up again, and slowly the eBay took over income-wise over the photography, and I'm actually closing my studio this year. I'm trying to get it done ASAP, but the management company's being pricks about it. So I still have to pay them for 3 more months. But yeah, now the eBay and of course the side of the decals pays the bills and keeps me fed. And plus I'm not really employable, and I, with health issues, can't go back to a 9-to-5 job. I would never survive it.
I think that's one of the biggest things about this. Once you start doing it for a while, especially if you're making a decent income, you really can't work for anybody else. I mean, it's difficult to go back out there and subject yourself to somebody else without just looking them in the face going, this is stupid. I can go make more money doing this.
Yeah, man, I've been running on J time for so long. There's no way I could have done it.
Well, it's also that I've been doing this or being self-employed so long, and the what do you call it? The field I was in has blown by me. I don't know what I'd even do if I had to go back to a 9-to-5. It wouldn't be a 9-to-5. It'd be greeter at Lowe's or something.
Oh, I'd have to go back and take some classes again and get what I know back up and brush up on some of the laws and stuff. I mean, I could do it, but I wouldn't want to. I mean, I could go back to work as long as I went back in a position of some authority, I would be all right. Working retail or something like that. As long as I'm going in as an assistant store manager or a store manager, something like that, I could probably handle it for a while. But I don't. I was a district level person, so it's a little bit more difficult for me to step down one more level. But
Yeah. I don't think I could do it just because I can't have that structure. Like, you mean I have to eat my lunch at this time and I can only take like 2 dumps a day? Like, I need more fluidity in my day. Like,
I can't take a nap every half hour.
right. You don't understand. I had 2 bagels for breakfast. I need a nap at 10.
I think the biggest problem for me with the few times that I've tried to go back and work for somebody, like when we first moved to Huntsville about 8 years ago, I took a brief job as we had enough money to move here and really didn't have to work. And we moved here to take care of Tristan's grandmother. And I was like, yeah, I want something to do. And there was a restaurant that was hiring. I was like, what the heck? That sounds like fun. Looked like a really cool type restaurant. The lady ended up being pretty freaking neurotic. Ironically, the chefs are usually the ones that are ironic, and the chef was cool as crap. But, I realized, just making little suggestions on how we could do things easier, because they did catering and stuff as well. And just making little suggestions on stuff like that. And it was like, she didn't want to hear it. She was just total control freak. And I thought
that chick you were talking about yesterday.
Yeah, I thought too much like an owner, and I didn't. And all my suggestions were not in a like, well, I never once said that. Like, I used to own a restaurant. Matter of fact, I can't remember if I even told her that we did, but it was nicely phrased, and hey, here's a better way we could do this and work more efficiently. She just didn't want to hear it. And I think that's the biggest, that whole saying, once you're self-employed, you're unemployable, is for me would be to go back and work for somebody else and not want to fix things and look at I'm always going to look at things through an owner's eyes, and that makes it really tough.
Yeah, I think I'll start from the bottom again.
Did we just run everybody off? They're all talking about hockey now.
Yeah.
Just the Canadian ones, and they'll be legal, but he doesn't count. So.
I could totally see like Eric entering the workforce as like that old '80s movies, Armed and Dangerous with John Candy. Because you're like in the security field, I could totally see him being like a Brinks car driver.
I wouldn't relish to be a target, so no, I'd never be a Brinks driver.
Yeah.
A bus driver? Is that what you said?
Brinks.
Brinks driver.
Oh, I swear I thought you said a bus driver. I was trying to picture you as a bus driver.
Actually, that's probably the one job that I would take as a bus driver, because you work very limited hours, and I could actually still do something like that when my son was in school, and then I could still do eBay a ton. But
I mean, I know a guy that's a reseller and took a job as a bus driver just for the health insurance aspect of it. I kind of argued with him, and I haven't talked to him in probably a couple of years, but I kind of argued with him because I'm like, dude, you can get insurance. This is pre-Obamacare, but back then, I was like, dude, you can get insurance on your own. It's not that bad. Like, he's like, all we got to do is, I was like, all you got to do is get up at 5 o'clock every morning, even in the middle of winter, and go start up a bus and heat it up and drive a bunch of screaming brats around, and then go back again at 2 o'clock. I was like, do you get any work done in between? Oh, yeah, I go back to the office and list stuff. And I'm like, no, I want a split shift. I mean, I guess, I don't know if he still does. I guess it worked for him.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be different if you could. I mean, I don't know what a bus driver makes. I have no clue. So, it would just be something to do, as supplemental income. But to me, I mean, I'd rather just keep doing this. I mean, anything that ties me down means I'm limited in what I can do to go out and pick stuff up. I've got auction pickups that happen at certain times. I mean, so what am I going to tell somebody? Well, I can't be at work from 3 to 5 tomorrow because I got to be at an auction pickup. So
I just think for me to have a second job is going to have to be really lucrative. Would have had, for me personally, would have to be very, very, very lucrative in order for me to break up, to go back to work for somebody else.
Well, I mean, I was making $60K a year at my other job, so but that's why I did part-time during that time period, because I was doing very well. But
I think you could start like school bus drivers start out at like 28 to 32,000 a year, depending on what part of the country. Which, I mean, for essentially part-time hours is not that bad.
no, that's not bad.
But it's you're up early doing your runs, and then you have a 4 or 5 hour break before you have to go back. So you could theoretically resell between the two, then at night as well. But I wouldn't do it.
If I needed the money, I could step up my game more, because I really don't do a lot of sourcing right now. I haven't enlisted in a week, and it still rolls in. I got enough that keeps me busy. I got to take frequent breaks of rest, and I take rest on the bed or rest on the couch. And I only source really on the weekend. I go to the swap meet Saturday and Sunday. So if I really needed the money, I can probably push myself a little more pain meds, and go source a bit more and list them more and ship more. But I'm happy with right where I'm at right now. It's slowing down for the summer, but it's not going to slow down too much that I have to worry about a second job, I guess.
That kind of ties into Corporal Calico's comment that he said, I work 70 plus hours a week at my corporate job. The biggest issue I have is being locked into a salary. Would be nice to work harder and make more. And that's kind of the beauty of this is, you list more, you make more.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
I was salary at the job. I was an engineer, and putting in 50 hours, and they're always asking for more. And then you just, what's the point of being salary? I thought it was supposed to be a curve, there's supposed to be down times.
Right, yeah.
Never was. It was always more and more and more.
Yep.
And I just, couldn't do it. That's probably what killed me.
I think that's the biggest draw for me. I worked for an ambulance service for 3 or 4 years as a paramedic back in the early 90s. And they didn't pay peanuts. I mean, they didn't pay squat, but the cool thing about it was basically all the overtime you wanted. And I loved that because I'm a workaholic. And so that was kind of nice. And I think this is the only other job that I've really found. I don't want to do sales. I mean, I know you could do it in sales. That's just, I tried that. That ain't happening. I think this is the only other job I've ever found where the more you work, the more you make.
No.
Your only limit really is increasing your knowledge, working harder and smarter. Your only limit really is you.
Right. And they say that about sales, but I've worked in sales for 20 years, and it's you work more, you make more. That's not necessarily true because you're depending on somebody to bring people through the door for you too.
Yeah.
Some days you're standing around not making a dime except for your lowly wages, but you can't go out there and I used to sell cell phones in a mall for Verizon, and they wouldn't let me go out in the mall and pass out cards or flyers or anything like that. So it all had to be corporate approved stuff, and on certain days, and just crap.
Were you that guy that goes, "Excuse me, are you happy with your cell phone service?" And it's like, what the hell? Did I speak to you? Do I look like I'm not happy with myself? Kiosk.
No, I wouldn't do that.
I had this guy in Walmart not too long ago. Walk up, he's got the sales. I'm going to throw you a sales pitch, Rand. And he asked me if I'm happy with my cable company. And I'm like, yeah, thanks, no problem, I appreciate it. And that's my standard reply to these guys. And as I'm walking by, the guy gets his old snarky ass, goes, "Well, I guess you don't want to save any money then." I turn around and it's like, what the fuck? Where did you learn how to sell?
No, I actually interviewed for one of those marketing firms. That's all they don't work for Comcast or Time Warner or whoever. It's all a marketing firm that rents the time in Walmart and all that stuff. But yeah, I once I learned what it was, I was like, no, I'm not into bugging people. Like I would never go up to somebody and say, "Hey, are you happy with your cell phone service?" You know, that's just
I could
not my
totally see
style.
you at like a perfume kiosk, like spraying people down with some nasty shit. Yeah.
Yeah, with my fat ass, they'd run away.
Jason,
Yeah.
talk. Or can I click you? What's that behind? What Apple is that behind you?
Huh?
Apple computer behind you?
That's a 2GS WAS edition with the certificate of authenticity.
Well, it's like I put in my address on one of the cable companies here, on an internet company here in town. One of their, it's kind of the smaller one that's not really known for being great, but put my address in because you had to put your address in to see your to see what deals were available. Next day, a guy shows up on my freaking front porch with a clipboard, and I'm like, okay, I know you're doing your job. And I was just honest with, like, I know you're doing your job, but crap like that, I don't really appreciate. But give that input back to your people that are, creating your leads for you. I said, I just don't like people showing up on my front porch that I don't know because I put my address in. I never clicked anything that I was interested.
There's a reason
I know they're
online, jackass. So.
Huh?
The reason I shop online, jackass. So.
Well, he's like, well, who do you have now? And I said, well, obviously not y'all. Like, that's really none of your business. And AT&T every single time. Yeah. Hudson 555X said I stopped those dish companies. I tell them I'm a cord cutter. Many of them have no clue what that is. AT&T, every time I go into a store or whatever, well, are you interested? I was like, no, we cut the cord 4 years ago. Don't need it. Not interested in it. Don't even try it. Not to mention with AT&T, it's a dish. Why the hell? If I live in an area that has buried underground cable, why the hell would I want a dish? Like, I mean, I get it. There's areas that are a little more rural or whatever, but
yeah.
Oh, no, why would I want something that's going to go out when the wind blows? Even like if I wanted cable.
Yeah.
That usually kind of shuts them up. But what do you do for internet? I'm like, I have Comcast Business, and it's unlimited, and we stream everything. Half of it's illegal.
You should look and go.
Which it's not, but that usually shuts them up too.
What's this internet you people speak of? I don't know what that is.
Speaking of cord cutting, I did get an Android box today. Came in today. I was messing with that.
I thought you ordered one of those, or was that the one your brother or something was supposed to be making for you a long time
Yeah,
ago?
my brother was supposed to get one, and that just never happened. So I just went and I ordered one up on Amazon. So that'll be my TV service here and then down when we move. So.
Yeah. The only problem with those is you got to constantly be updating them because they constantly are getting shut down and moved around.
Yeah, my brother told me what he's got going on, and it's supposed to be one of the most reliable. It's actually a paid service, so you pay your $15 a month, and
I mean, you go with Sling TV. I mean, Sling TV is not terrible, but
no, I mean you get maybe 80 channels with that. So
yeah, for what, $20-25 a month, whatever it is.
yeah.
We had Sling, and then if you leave Sling, they'll go, hey, here's a Roku stick if you come back for a month. So I'm like, all right. So I went back for a month. Paid the $19.99. Took the Roku stick and sold it on eBay for $50. Sold for 40. I think it's 45.
Yeah. And Corporal Coleco said PlayStation View for TV and Kodi for movies.
My little brother has PlayStation View, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He was
One
showing
problem
me
with
down there.
Cody is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not showing up on it. It's not on Exodus. Pissed me off. I get halfway through the season and there's no streams available.
I have a big ass antenna. That's what I use.
On Exodus, I can't get anything to work now.
Yeah. It's getting
Whatever
harder.
comes up.
I started watching The Expanse, and the only server available for that, you have to go to a certain website, so they pair you up. And I'm afraid of that.
Right.
But I started the series. I got to finish it.
Yep.
I liked, what was before Exodus? Genesis. I liked
Genesis, yeah.
That was good.
I used to use Stream All the Sources. I don't know if that's still around. That might have got shut down.
I just pirate all my stuff.
There you go.
Yep. Jennifer asked me, do I have any good flea markets near me? There's only one, and it's at the fairgrounds in Raleigh. That's probably about the biggest, and you'll find the most stuff. Every other one is like cheap Chinese crap, and your quinceañera dresses and stuff.
You're describing our Spring Valley swap meet, which is 15 minutes from the border.
Oh yeah.
I don't go to that one anymore.
Yeah.
The first 3/4 of it is all that Chinese new crap. And then the last quarter, it's just impossible to shop.
Right.
It's hard to describe.
And produce. Yeah, lots of produce. Lots of weird produce too.
I don't mind getting my produce from there. Stuff.
No, I mean we usually buy like bananas and oranges, watermelons when they're out.
You've got decent auctions around you, though, Jim.
If you want to travel a little bit, yeah.
And
See,
like,
like 50. My schedule doesn't allow me to do that though.
Yeah, you're stuck by your schedule. You're not stuck by really by how far stuff away is, because it's really not that far. It's half-hour away.
Well, if it was 10 minutes away, I could hit them.
Wait till you get here. I only took you to one. You only sweat your way through one flea market. There's 2 other ones I didn't even show you.
you're gonna have to bring a big towel, Jim.
When we were down there the last time, there was we looked into some of the other flea markets because I think it was that Sunday we couldn't connect, or maybe it was Saturday. So I was like, well, let's look for something to do. And we're looking up flea markets. We didn't end up going because we took the kids to the Space and Rocket Center. But yeah, I was like, shit, there's a lot of flea markets around here.
It's because we have a lot of fleas.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with you, Dusty? Never seen you work so much.
Because I don't feel like getting up and having to do it all tomorrow morning.
Are you kidding? Dusty's always working.
Yep. Story of my life.
Actually, whenever I see a video of Dusty, he has a beer in his hand. This is the first time I see him with packing tape in his hand.
And smart water, which isn't really smart water. I just like their bottles, so I keep refilling it with water out of our cooler.
I do the same thing with Voss. Like their bottles.
Went to Walmart today and took the 3 big 5-gallon things, and I could put a filter system in and yada yada yada, but who's not in Walmart at least once a week anyhow? And I just take the 3 big 5-gallon ones once they all get empty. I stand there at the machine. It takes 10 minutes to fill them. It's like 35 cents a gallon.
How do you cap them?
Filter.
They got the cap. The caps are on them. I don't have the screw-on kind. It's this really stiff plastic, and I just pop it back on there.
Oh, okay.
We've been out for about 2 or 3 days, and I've been drinking tap water, and I did not realize how chlorinated our tap water was. Ooh.
I know around here twice a year they really pump the chlorine through it, so you smell it and you taste it a lot more during those times of year.
Bad.
Yeah. Team Tycoon's asking, what's up with that Nessa piece?
Bought it. There's a video coming. I bought it. I haven't sold it yet. That's all I can say.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I can say. No, I did go back and buy it, and the guy was really cool and found out all the history on it and all that. He wouldn't come off the price of $200, but I wasn't going to insult him either.
Yeah.
So I gladly paid him the $2 for it. Haven't really had any offers on it. Got listed for 1,000 and something. I think I'm a little high on it. Got a lot of watchers. A lot of watchers, but no offers, which usually tells me that I'm too high. So
That's just find the right buyer for that too.
it'll end in a couple days, and I'll relist it at a little bit lower price.
It would have sold by now if it had been flown, but
Huh?
if that had been a flown piece, it would have sold by now.
Yeah.
But my dog's going nuts.
We could get a reverse. These somebody's at corporal,
Cool.
dude. It's saying reverse osmosis water system 150 at Lowe's, well worth the money. It is, but I use a water cooler because I don't like ice in my water. I like just cold water. And the nice thing about it, we have a water cooler. It stands in the utility room, and you just flip a button and fill that bottle up, and it's cold, and it's got plenty of. And I like the temperature of it. And if I did a water filter system or whatever, then I'm putting it on the on the kitchen sink or a separate thing on the sink, and yada yada yada, and then changing out filters and everything else. It's really not a big deal to drag those three containers to Walmart.
Do you cook with your water, or do you cook with that water?
I cook with just regular water. I mean, we don't really add water to anything though. That I can think. I mean, but yeah, like if I have oatmeal or something, I just pull water out of the tap. I just can't stand it to drink.
PJ says is asking if you're afraid of the melting ice will water down your water.
No, but freaking ice is. I mean, unless you put a water filter system on that, then you're going to have the same taste.
I have mine to my refrigerator, so it's filtered that way.
New invention: filtered cold water in your refrigerator door. Going to change the world. Thank you, Scott. And if our kitchen was big enough to have a full size refrigerator with one, I probably would have one.
These exciting topics on the happy hour. Water.
Yeah.
H2O.
Yeah. Talking water.
Oh,
Have you guys tried that Perrier? It's got a watery kick.
sure has water.
That stuff.
Yeah.
I put Perrier right up there with LaCroix. I tried this LaCroix lemon stuff at the advice of somebody I was watching on YouTube, and that was the most rank ass stuff I think I've ever had in my life.
Well, what were you expecting? It's just naturally carbonated water with natural flavorings. It's not going to be like a soda.
I make my own. I soda stream my water and put a lemon in it or orange in it or whatever.
Nope.
Jack Smack's asking, so who will admit to watching Girl Boss? I didn't even know it was out.
Oh yeah, it is out, but I still haven't gotten a chance to see it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll watch the first episode if it's interesting. I'll watch the next one, but I won't go to 13 until I'm there. I mean,
What are they talking about? LaCroix doesn't have aspartame in it. We don't do stuff with aspartame. That's the problem with a lot of the waters out there is they do have artificial sweeteners in them. We don't do artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
They make my heart. I haven't had an artificial sweetener in years. If I were to drink one, my heart would start palpitating. That right there tells you something.
Same here.
I've gotten that too from that stuff. Yeah.
That's why I quit Gatorade and sodas, everything. Anything with high fructose corn syrup.
Yep.
And
Margot, Florida's hidden treasure, saying that Girl Boss is really, really stupid. So there you go.
Jack Smack said it's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's still something that will annoy a reseller. Why is it? I don't understand why. Like, explain what you mean.
Well, the girl starts out as an eBay seller.
Yeah, because my wife came to me and said, she reminds me of you, worrying about feedback.
Are you the girl boss over there, Jeff?
I must be. Better than holding a pink penis, I guess.
Touche.
Don't say touche when you're holding a pink penis. That's all we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Because touche in America is nothing more than touchy. And that's just weird. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Smack says about Girl Boss, it glamorizes the bullshit and doesn't reseller's life is like. I don't think it's supposed to show what a reseller's life is like.
so you can't show what a reseller's life is like because half the time we're not even dressed before like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So.
Yeah. I think that show is just basically about the meteoric flame out of that lady and how she was kind of a douche and got started and she would continue to be a douche until she lost it.
And she's still kind of a douche from everything I read. So
Yeah.
I mean, the first 8 hours of the day, Jim is wearing a giant diaper.
Basically.
You don't even get changed.
No. I don't put on underwear till about 2.
Yeah.
Here's a good question that was in my Facebook group that nobody's answered yet. Huh?
thank God, a good question.
How far is too far to pick, thrift, or auction? And they showed a screenshot of their phone where it said directions, 4 hours, 52 minutes, 310 miles.
I've done that many times. No problem there.
I would have to know what I was going to. It would have to be something exciting. But the stuff you go to, though, Jason, is stuff that is exciting. Like you already know it's going to be like a tool auction and you do really well at it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got 3 hours.
Insight. You know, I'm not going to travel 4 hours on a whim. Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably the extent I've got is maybe 3 hours or about 180 miles, 200 miles, something like that. But it's got to be good. I'm not going to go there just because I think I'm going to win something. It's usually because I'm picking something up, or I know that I can make a lot of money off the stuff I'm going to get, even if I don't get but 10 or 15 items. It's good stuff.
See, I enjoy going to other cities and checking out the city, hitting a couple of thrifts. It's more of a leisurely trip to me than a work thing.
That's because you got that comfortable minivan.
Well, it's not comfortable by any means.
No?
No.
I know I rode in Scott's minivan, and I have to say it, you're going to have to up the minivan because he's got like the i8 of minivans.
He's got the Volkswagen, right? The Rutan?
And his seats don't have seats because he took all of them. Yeah, it's the Volkswagen. Whatever.
Something.
I think he said made by Dodge. Scott, who's it made by? But of course, it's it's only got like 15,000 miles on it or something.
Yeah.
It'd be
How many miles?
fun to go out to a couple of big trips, but
Jim's one, yours is nice. I'm not, I picked on minivans, and the thing is, my wife wouldn't drive one.
He's got a Toyota Sienna, by the way.
But that's just always been a thing.
No, we're looking at.
Oh, it was a Toyota Sienna I was riding. I had a few beers. He was designated driver.
Yeah, we're actually looking to get rid of the minivan when we can. We still have the payments and things, but we're going to go back to a SUV with 3-row seating. We went with the minivan because when the kids were in the car seats to get them in and out was easier. But now that they can crawl over the seats, just let them be animals and crawl over the seats. And
I'm going to say more of a Lord of the Flies routine now. Who gets the best seat?
Right.
Depending on how much you drive, it's really, when you stop and look at it, SUVs were a big thing, after 9/11 and all that, and gas went up to $4 a gallon. But where we live, it's like $2.09 right now, $2 a gallon. As long as gas stays around, and we don't put 10,000 miles a year on a vehicle, so it's really, why not have something you enjoy driving if you're not going to put a ton of miles on it? Versus, back then we got rid of the SUV we had at the time because it was like, holy crap, and we were driving a ton and driving 20,000 miles a year, and it was going to, gas prices quadrupled basically. It went from 99 cents a gallon to $4 a gallon.
I had a Chevy Avalanche, and then when gas hit $4.20 a gallon, I decided it was probably not a good thing to spend $100 to fill it up. So I went to a Chevy HHR, which is actually a really nice picking vehicle. Decent gas mileage, a lot of space. I mean, you put 8-foot boards in it, so I mean, it's pretty decent. And then I went from that back to now that gas prices went back down, I went to a full-size Ford pickup. So
Elaine says she loves her Honda Odyssey. And you know what? And Honda Odysseys are cheap if you look on Craigslist. The problem is they made a really bad bunch of years with the Honda Odyssey where bad design on the transmission. They had transmission problems. Like our Craigslist, if you look, there's Honda. Last time I looked, there was a ton of Honda Odysseys. Every single one of them bad transmission. Like you could pick one up for $1,500, like a really nice. And it's a Honda, so the motor's good. I think that was only a set amount of years on that one, but so it depends on what yours is. But of course, then the ones that had Goodyear transmissions are a little bit pricier.
what Honda did you use, Jason? You said you used a Honda for a long time.
I had a Honda Element for quite a long time.
Oh, we had one.
And then
That looks cool because it's got the suicide doors on the side, right?
Yeah.
And the back seats fold into the walls.
Yeah.
It's like a cube. So there's a lot of space.
It was a toaster on wheels. Tristan had one for about 3 years and loved that thing. The only thing I could never get used to in it, the damn door sills were way up here. Yep. And I felt like I was riding just barely like I was low riding or something.
Look ahead. Yeah. But and the cool thing about mine is I had a stick shift one, which they didn't make that many. Now I drive a Ridgeline. I've had a lot of Hondas. I like Hondas. They run, like forever.
Yeah.
And I have a '94 Suzuki Samurai that I use to drive for fun, and that's it.
Elaine said, yeah, I worked in a Honda Acura service department. It was like pre-2010. They did have tranny issues. All Hondas and Acuras did. Yeah, they had a bunch of bad years in there, which is sad because Honda's got I'd drive a Honda before I drive anything else. If you gave me my choice of cars, the only problem is Honda's never, other than the Ridgeline, never really made. That's the only truck they've ever made, isn't it?
Yeah, pickup, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a shame that they can't get into the truck market.
Well, they dropped the Ridgeline for a couple of years and then they brought it back.
Well, they only dropped it for a year for the redesign. That's all.
Wow.
Yeah, and the redesign's a lot more expensive, and it like all the things that I have in my truck that were like standard, there's like optional in that thing. So I bought the last year before they switched over to the new one.
Yeah, my dad drives it. He's got an 07 or 08 Ridgeline. I don't know what year it is. But.
I mean, no complaints. Great truck. I love it. It has that nice big trunk underneath the bed.
Where you keep all your pink toys.
Tons of them.
And
I mean, I've always liked Hondas. Before I used to have a Del Sol VTEC, and I had that for like 15 years.
Oh my God, I have one of those. I loved it.
They're awesome.
It's just a fun car. I mean, what other car can you? I mean, there's other cars I can think of, but what other more modern car can you just take your top off? Not your top off, but oh wow, that's gonna go bad places.
I mean, we've already talked about tranny issues and taking our tops off. So
take the Target top off, pop it in the trunk, and you've basically got a convertible. Yeah. And then roll that back window down.
Yeah, I love that power back window. That was awesome.
Oh, you want to ride with me? I'm sorry, I only have 2 seats. That was my favorite feature.
Yeah. I mean, that sucker used to redline at I think it was 86 or something. I remember it was real high. It was fun to drive.
Sorry, I'm bashing our own show in the chat.
Yeah. It's not very exciting all the time, so.
Yeah.
I blame the audience.
I've probably owned, my mom had one of the original. She had a 76 or 77 Honda CBCC. It was a little yellow thing, didn't have any air conditioning. And she drove 3 kids at the time. My youngest brother wasn't born yet. She drove 3 kids around that thing. My dad paid $2,000 brand new at the Honda dealership, and I think we sold it They had like, I don't know, 178,000 miles or something, like 10 years later. They sold it for $1,500.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just reliable as hell. And then she went in straight into an 80s model Accord, and she had a 90s model Accord. And we were Honda for a lot of years, and I've owned a Del Sol, 3 CRXs. I don't know how many different Accords. My favorite Accord story, though, was a friend of mine that I knew. We went to church with him at the time, and he goes, "Man, I got this Honda Accord. It's like an O whatever model." And he goes, "It's leaking oil like a sieve." Like, he goes, "If you buy it, you will drive it home and you will need to stop halfway there and put oil in it." And I'm like, "But it runs." He's like, "Yeah, I'm a mechanic, can't figure it out. Nobody can figure it out." And I'm like, "Okay, well, how much?" He's like, $250. So I go stop and get a case of oil and go to his house and fill it up with oil and pay him and get the title and all that. And it was about 15 miles home, and I stopped halfway and everything was good. But by the time I got home, it was literally like, you know, it was down about 3 or 4 quarts of oil. So I stand there and I look, and an old mechanic buddy of mine taught me this years ago. He said, anytime you got an oil leak, he said, it's just common sense. Look for the highest point on the motor. And, you know, with the highest point where you don't see oil, and you can figure out where it's at. And I just stood there for about 10 minutes. I put some more oil in it, let it run, just stood there. And then all of a sudden I see this little thing on the top of the motor go drip, 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 drip. So I'm like, okay, that's where it's coming from. I shut it off. I do some Googling, and it's the VTEC solenoid. It's the difference between a regular Honda and a VTEC. There's some other differences, but it's in this little VTEC solenoid that apparently like pressurizes the oil. I don't know what it does. I'm not that much of a mechanic. So I'm like, how to fix? You know, Google that or whatever. It's 4 screws. I think there was 3 or 4 screws. I take the top off, and inside is this little kind of like figure 8 O-ring. And I get I have glasses back then, but I get like a magnifying glass and look, and I take a little needle pick and pick it out, and you can tell there's a little slit in it. It's just dry rotted. So I take that O-ring out. I take it down to the Honda dealership. I'm like, what is this? He goes, let me guess, you're leaking oil like a sieve. And I said, yeah. And he goes, they're like $1.98 or whatever it was. I was like, okay. He goes, if you put that back in, you know, seat it right and clean it real good and all that. He goes, you shouldn't have any more oil leaks. Dude, we drove that car for like 2.5 years, never leaked a drop of oil after that. So I called the guy I bought it from. I was like, I fixed your car. And he was a rocket scientist, engineer guy here in town, made really good money. He's like, you know what? I hope you're blessed with the car. That makes me really happy. He was really happy for us. But he's like, what was it? And I was like, a $2 part. So, and I'm not much of a mechanic, so I was pretty proud of myself on that one. Bleacher Picker said there's 2 gaskets on that solenoid. It's whatever it was that was figure 8. I think I still have it. Hang on. I stuck it inside a book. I remember sticking it inside a book.
He really still has this part?
Because you never know when you're going to get called out of one of your stories. So.
Holy crap.
Now, see, I didn't grow up with Hondas. We grew up with Datsuns. My dad was a Datsun fan, and I had Datsuns. My brother had Datsuns. So, I mean, that was kind of the go-to vehicle for us. But my dad had the 510. I had the 110. My brother had the 710, something like that. I can't remember. They were all 10 ones, and I ended up with a B210 at one point, and then my dad bought the 310, which is the last I believe that was the last year's Datsun, and they started getting into the Nissan in the late 80s. I had a 280ZX. So.
Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, my good friend had a 280ZX, and it was dark brown and light brown, 2-tone. With
I was blue and silver, the black interior.
This one had tan interior. We had so much fun with that car. That car was awesome.
I was an automatic. That's the only thing I didn't like about it. But I only paid $300 or $400 for the thing, and it ran great.
Nope, I don't have it. False alarm.
Well, go back and search again. I think you'll find it.
Sure.
I think this Nissan was the first import that I've ever owned. It's been American the whole way.
I've been mainly imports.
I didn't like America. I had a Escort GT, an 86 Escort
Oh,
GT.
you got the bad Escort, didn't you?
Oh, man, that car had so many issues all the time.
Timing belt. That was the first major car with timing belt issues.
It had everything issues. And the thing would go through tires like water. I couldn't
Really?
even figure it out. It was ridiculous.
I had a Hyundai that was like that. My Hyundai Accent, it was a 98. I had a 98 Hyundai Accent, and I went through 4 sets of tires before 90,000 miles.
Wow.
And I would get in alignment with each time. It's just 8 tires. Now, granted, the tires were only $20 a piece. Maybe that was my problem. I'm buying cheap ass tires, but when you could do the whole set for $100, who cared?
Yeah.
I had a I had a Ford Courier. That was like pre-Ranger. That was their little.
Yeah, what the hell is a Courier? I don't remember that one.
It's actually a Mazda.
It was, I don't know, but it was a 5-speed, and I was moving out from home, working for the ambulance service, needed some cheap transportation, getting my first apartment. Some guy's like, yeah, $350. And dude, I mean, it smoked like a mother. The windows, to roll the windows up and down, you had to push up and down the glass. I had all kinds of issues, and had no mechanical knowledge. Not that I have a whole lot more, but I had none back then. And then you'd shut it off, and it would just bam. My favorite thing was I was in the middle of moving out from my parents' house, was to like coast down this little road toward their house there in Birmingham. Coast down, go ahead and shut it off, because it was a manual, and pop it in neutral, and coast the rest of the way into their driveway, but let it backfire up the hill. And it never failed. My dad would, a little late, it's 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I heard your truck backfire. And I was like, yeah.
Dustin's got the old Uncle Buck mobile over there.
Ford Courier, those are small trucks too. I mean, there's just nothing to them.
Did you cover Brian the Oak Picker's question?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody asked a question.
Yeah.
They're talking
We're going to talk reselling now.
Oh, wait, what?
Wait, hold on. They're talking about how good Yugos are in the audience.
Courier, that's right. Tom said the Courier was replaced by the Ranger. I knew it was the predecessor to the Ranger. Of course, they had the Ranger. Ranger was the model of the big truck, the F-150 or whatever. Before that.
Early 70 Ranger, yeah. Anyone want to explain how running eBay business can be passive income?
I think that
if you list a bunch of stuff and then never go back and look at it and it slowly sells, that's a passive income.
I think that term is used loosely. Because of course passive is something you don't really touch, and with eBay you still have to ship stuff.
Yeah, I would say Amazon FBA would be more passive income.
Right.
Where you send it in and you're done with it, you never have to touch it again. When it sells, it sells.
Yeah.
Internal Revenue Service defines passive income as only coming from 2 sources, either rental activity or trade or business activities in which you do not materially participate.
Right.
Let me guess, there's somebody doing videos calling it passive income.
Probably. I mean, I think the most passive you could get with eBay would be like a drop shipping service, to where you're just putting in an order somewhere.
Yeah, if you create a listing and as soon as they ordered it, you have it set up so it automatically drop ships it out. I mean, that's fine, but
right.
Yeah, the problem with passive income is it's not great income. It's not like a multi-level marketing where you've pyramided yourself up to the top and you've got like 50,000 people and you're getting a tiny bit of everybody's sale. That's passive. I mean, you didn't do anything. You did your bit to get there, but now you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, Brian the Oak Picker said YouTube marketer selling the pipe dream.
Yeah, I just searched eBay passive income and sorted the videos by upload date, and there's been last month there's quite a few, most of which I've never even heard of. But
right.
I mean, I consider, and I've used that term probably in videos. It's not the correct term, but I do consider, just for lack of probably knowing a better term, I do consider the stuff that that I have. I don't even remember listing that. I do consider a lot of the stuff that I have that's like quantity stuff that, you know, I list at one time and then forget about it. And when it sells, I just drop it in a bubble later. That's not technically passive, but it's about as close as you're going to get with eBay.
Elaine says it's still not passive. It's still data entry. I guess that's about drop shipping. That's why I said it's probably as close as you'll get to passive, is if you're just putting in somebody's address on some drop shipper site where you're not having to physically, you know, pack and ship it.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do. So,
Dude, I bought it. They're talking about K cars. I bought a K car for $300. This is probably, I don't know, 15 years ago. It was when we were doing eBay, and I bought this whole lot of cars too. And I bought one for $200 or $300. It was in those thrifty nickel paper things or whatever. And the guy's like, it's gonna overheat. And I had a friend that had a wrecker service, and it was about 30 miles away. And he's like, well, if I can fit it in between calls, $30 and I'll haul it back. And I literally, it had a cracked radiator, and rather than replace it, I went and got that bars leak crap and just ran a bunch of that through it, which is horrible. And I drove the crap out of it. It never overheated again. And then I gave it to a buddy of mine that sold a lot of cars out of his yard. And I like, we'll split whatever you get. And he got $1,500 for that freaking car.
Yeah. I had a friend.
good.
I had a friend that had a K car, and we would carpool to Great Adventure where we worked. And he was driving one day and it overheats. He's like, oh, I gotta fix this real quick. So I'm like, fix it. The only way to fix an overheated car is to wait for it to cool off, right? And we're like 1,000 feet from like a KFC. And he pulls out a bucket and he goes to KFC and he comes back with a bucket full of water, pops the hood open and pours the bucket on the engine. So now it's smoking like crazy. And I'm like, well, you're going to break your frigging car. And you know what? 5 minutes later, we're driving a Great Adventure. So it was just, those cars could take a beating.
I got rear-ended. I was driving a 73 Ford Torino. I was stopped, and somebody driving a Dodge Aries, which is, you know, the epitome of K car, slams into the rear of my car. They were doing like 45 miles an hour. They didn't see the light had changed. Me and my brother both get slammed back. We sit there for a second. We get out of the car. We walk back. My bumper got pushed in about an inch. A little bit of rust on the ground where it hit my bumper. Their car was totaled.
Yeah.
The motor was off the motor mounts. It was all twisted. The whole front end was bashed in. They were fine. And they look at us and like, oh, are you guys all right? Like, yeah. They're like, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I'm fine. We're fine. No damage to my car. They're like, oh, I said, I'm fine. I'm taking off. They're like, okay. And we left them sit there with a big smile, a pile of crap, things smoking everywhere. And I'm like, didn't bother me none. I was driving a steel car.
Wow. I was reading on Wikipedia the K car actually pulled Chrysler out of the hole that year. They reported a profit in October of 1980 of $10 million, its first profit in 2 years.
That's right after they borrowed all that money.
On one of the crappiest cars ever.
Yeah, but it was really one of the very first successful front-wheel drive cars. I mean, that's what they did. They got decent gas mileage. They had plenty of room, and they were small.
Well, and that would have been right on the end of the gas. When was the gas crunch in the 70s? Did it go up?
Gas crunch was 74.
Yeah.
So the Chrysler K car was an 80s car, so like 86, I think. 85, somewhere right in there. Yeah, Fish and Pickett says his first truck was the Chevy Love, which is, I mean, it's kind of sad. You had the Ford Courier and the Chevy Love, and they were basically the Pinto and Vega of trucks. You know, the Chevy Love had the Vega engine, the Courier had the Pinto motor, the Love had the Vega motor. I mean, just not good vehicles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my first car was the Suzuki Samurai, and I've owned at least 8 of them. And
Why do you keep getting rid of them?
I don't know. I mean, I'd take them to about 100,000 or so and then sell them.
Yeah, but you got to stop doing that because you're not finding the low mileage ones that much anymore.
Oh yeah, not anymore. No. But I'll tell you, dependable is all hell. But real tiny.
My first car was a 1965 Mercury Comet Caliente.
Comet Caliente.
Yeah, 289, automatic transmission, 2-door,
And
muscle car.
an 82 Chevy Malibu that looked like a cop car. At least I thought it did. So my friends would think it was cool, and we'd get up behind people and do my hazards and flash my headlights and on and off all at the same time. People would get out of your way, and then we just keep on going. It's one of my dad's companies.
That was my good years for the Malibu.
My first car was a 1972 Pontiac Catalina 2-door.
I don't even know what to say to that one.
It was horrible. It was
It was horrible.
it was 72.
I had a 69. I would buy that car today.
Yeah.
If I could find a 69 Catalina 2-door, as long as it had the 400 two-barrel carbureted motor.
Yeah, that's what I had.
A gallon out of that thing.
Yeah.
I love that car. The only problem was I was driving down the highway and I lost the spider gear in the rear end, and literally the wheel popped out with the axle still attached, popping down the highway while I'm dragging the car. Me, my wife, and the kids in the car. I literally had this groove into the pavement up into a parking lot. But I sold that car for like $20.
I did get out of the Malibu Classic and straight into a 78 Camaro.
Nice.
That was fun.
Yeah, I bought my Catalina for $250. It was painted blue with house paint with like a regular paintbrush, like you could see the streaks in it. And I drove it around for about a year and a half, and I sold it for $400 to a bunch of kids that just wanted to jump on the roof and cave it in. So I was like, whatever.
I think my favorite car that I had when I was a kid was a '66 Lincoln Continental.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah, it was suicide doors, leather interiors. I mean, this car was so decked out. It had leather vent. I mean, it had power vent windows. Had a switch. I could sit there and open the vent windows with it. I literally traded a $5 gold coin for that.
Really?
Yeah, gold wasn't worth, obviously what's worth now, but I mean that coin was worth about $150, and I traded the guy. Had to put all new brake cylinders on it, wheel cylinders all the way around. But that car ran great. I mean, I had drove that car for about 6 months, and then my mom drove it for a while. Then we eventually sold it. That's a great car, great high school car.
Well, I was telling you, Eric, I had that Bradley GT for a while. That was
My brother had a kit car like that, but it was a homemade car. It was on a VW Pan, but they put a Ford V6 motor in it.
Oh wow!
And the problem with the thing is you could never get the heating right, so you had to be careful, otherwise it would overheat. But it literally had this whole cockpit cover that you would basically latch down on top of you, and had no roll-up windows. So in the summertime, it was brutal because you were like driving around in a greenhouse.
Let me tell you, I wouldn't have wanted a big motor on that car because, man, that thing was just fiberglass.
This was it had a tube frame, and it had aluminum body panels that were pop riveted on, and that car ran like it probably only weighed 1,200 pounds, and it was a screamer. But good cars. I've had way too many cars.
All right, Julie Venerum's asking, best flip ever, quickest or most money, or most memorable one?
Now I got to think of something. Well, my most memorable was car related, so it was a Ferrari brochure that I sold for. I paid $7 for a whole box, and one brochure out of the box sold for $4,000. So
yeah,
most memorable. Huh?
Holy shit!
Yeah, well, I sold the rest of the brochures out of the box. Got about another $800 out of the rest of the box. So I had old Porsche, an old Aston Martin. What's funny is the Ferrari, when I sold it, I tried to sell it on eBay, and at the time I had no international shipping on it because they didn't have the GPS back then. So a guy contacted me after it had ended, and we negotiated the price for $4,000 because I was actually 4,500 on eBay.
Oh, okay.
And it was signed. I had a letter signed. It was the brochure for the 1952 Ferrari 212 and the Ferrari 340. So I had two brochures. And then I also had a letter from the Ferrari company signed by Enzo Ferrari, thanking the guy for his interest in the company. And here's a couple brochures. I sold it to a guy in Belgium.
Cool. I've actually I've never sold anything for more than $300. Like I can't get above that level. I bought, lots of stuff that I've sold for a couple of thousand where, but not one individual sale.
Holy crap, there's Resale Ronan.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody was asking me the other day if I still talk to him, and I said, yeah, every once in a while we message each other. What's up, Paul? I think my funnest one, and probably one of the best profits as well, was a friend of mine bought a storage unit and called me and said, hey, I just bought something, but I don't know what I really got into. $1,500 will take the whole thing. It was a 10 by 30. It was a 10 by 30 unit full of pallets with boxes stacked on top of them. They were probably each about 6 feet high. And I don't know, I was 20 something pallets, whatever. I can't do the math on that. However many fit in a 10 by 30. And it was boxes and boxes and boxes of Ready Reserve survival food, which apparently is the company that Ready Reserve makes stuff for government bunkers. It's the company that had the government contract for a long time. Really funky looking cans. They all had a squirrel on the front of them, and it said Ready Reserve. And it was stuff like powdered drink mix and like powdered eggs and like TVP, which is like textured vegetable protein. It's like fake meat. And it was like, I mean, there was cool stuff in there too, like cans of lentils, and some of them were the big number 10 cans, some were the smaller cans. And it was literally, and he goes, and he looked at me and he goes, and the storage unit place will rent this place to you for $125 a month. Because he goes, I don't know where you're going to put it. And I did it, and I got in there. I put an ad on some of the survivalist board. I think it was survivalistboards.com or survivalistforum.com. Found the North Alabama prepper area, forum area, and just said what I had and said, you know what, come and just make an offer on what you want and pick through. Because it was literally the point where I couldn't even get in there to start sorting, because my plan was to put each by individual can type and all that. And we sold over the next year, we probably made 15 grand, 20 grand off of that unit. We made really, really, really good money. The majority of it ended up going on eBay once it got down to the point where I could actually see what I had, and sort it and then do it that way. At the time, we had a 10 by 30 building behind our house. So I just literally, I had a cargo van at the time too, an old FedEx home delivery cargo van. And I just started bringing it home boxes at a time once I got down to a manageable size. But it was a lot of work, but it was one I definitely do over again. Because I was putting together in lots on eBay, like you get a can of this and a can of this and a can of this, and figure out what would fit in a certain type box. We had a daily UPS pickup, and getting 100. It was, your phone was constantly, before the days of the cha-ching, but it was nothing to sell $500 or $600 worth of that stuff a day. Really.
LV Loopers.
Hey, Jim, is your dog sleeping again?
Yeah, LV Loopers asking about the low rumble. That's my dog snoring.
Oh, I wasn't even looking at the chat. I was just waiting for Dusty to finish.
Yeah.
Toronto Greenhouse wanted to know if there were MREs. There were about 5 cases of MREs in here, and I flipped them locally to some of the prepper people. Back then, MREs brought better money.
Holy crap! You got a cow over there.
Yeah. We call her Fat Bella. She's snoring away. Bella.
Yeah.
There she is.
Oh, will you bother me?
Yeah. I gotta set this fucking camera back up. Good enough. I actually had the opportunity to sell a painted ostrich egg. I can't for the life of me remember the artist's name, but when I was looking him up, it was started with a Z. It was like a one-word name. I remember it started with a Z. His painted ostrich eggs were going for, on the low end, 1,000. Mine was lacquer, so it was more like between 2,000 and 3,000. I was in the thrift store, and it came out of the storage unit. So I set the egg up on the counter, turned around to mess with the box. I came back, and the egg was rolling off the counter, fell on the ground, and yeah, it came in, it busted into a couple of 100 pieces. So,
Ouch.
yep.
Did you have to buy it anyhow?
Oh no, I had already bought it.
Did you ask for your money back since it was broken?
I should have. I should have went back to the storage facility and been like, "Hey, I broke this. I want my money."
Oh, was
back."
out of a storage facility? I thought you were saying you bought it.
No. I was no, it was a
That's what
storage.
you're selling out of your thrift store.
I was selling it out of my thrift store. Yeah.
What was it worth?
I was gonna list it on eBay for 2,500.
Oh, did you cry? I would have cried.
I didn't cry, but I kicked a couple things.
It was a little more than that.
Jim said, "Oh darn, I'll guess
Oh,
I'll
darn.
have to go make that money up somewhere else."
No, I
golly
did.
darn.
I did say motherfucker in front of a kid, though.
And a motherfucker in a giant circle rack of clothing goes flying through the air.
and they never came back.
So I think one of my more fun, profitable ones was actually this was a while ago. I was driving through a mall parking lot, and I see this like figure sticking, like a head sticking out of a dumpster. I'm like, what the hell is that? So I pull over, like curiosity got the best of me. And it ends up the Disney store was getting rid of its displays. And it was inside the dumpster was a whole bunch of Alice in Wonderland figures.
Wow.
And they were all about between 3 and 5 feet tall. And there were about, I want to say at least 6 of them. So I took them all. I was like, this is cool as shit because I'm a big Alice in Wonderland person. So I took them all, and then I looked them up on eBay, and I found out they were going for like really good money. So I sold them between $300 and $800 a piece, and that was just free money. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But I wish I kept one.
I used to troll Craigslist for sports cars. I'd always start with Porsche and Triumph and MG, and always trying to find a cheap one to buy and fix up and sell. And I was in West Virginia at the time, and I looked on Craigslist, and it said Triumph, make offer. That was the whole ad, and I'm like, okay. So it's up there for 3 or 4 days, and I finally I was able to get home for the weekend. I called the ad up, and I'm like, call him about the Triumph. He's like, yeah, I got it. I'm like, what is it? He's like, I don't really know. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, it's in this barn. It's been sitting out there for like 25 years. Lady abandoned it here. She hasn't. It's tags on her for like from the 70s. And I'm like, all right. He goes, oh, it's real rough shape though. I'm like, all right, I'll come out and take a look at it. And it turned out it was a 1959 Triumph TR3. And so I'm looking at the thing, and he's like, yeah, what do you give me for it? I'm like, last car I bought in this condition, I paid $200, so I'd give you $200 for it. He's like, oh, that'll work. So I bought this thing for $200. It was rough, and it took me.
Sorry, Jim.
Also, that I already no, actually, that you asked the question.
I know.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, he's real thirsty, Jim.
Yeah, she's going to town.
Luke, it's 11 o'clock. Why are you not in bed?
I know.
Spelling. Said how to spell things. Not looking at the computer or something.
Jennifer said I bought a case of denture cream one time. I sold them for 50 to 75 each. They now go for 200 to 250 each. I think I had 28 of them.
Go on.
Wow.
I'm sure you do.
That's the kind of stuff that, I mean, for me, the home run stuff like that, that just, I mean, even at 50 and 75, that's the kind of stuff that just makes your day. When you find stuff like that, it just keeps you going, you know?
Yeah, I was. So anyway, back to storage before it came down. So I dragged this thing home, but it's really cool, and I'm like, man, I really want to keep this, but I had no space for it. I had a 1-car garage, and I knew I'd never get around to doing anything with it. So I threw it up on eBay for $99 and auction, and it sold for $1,300. And it was kind of a nice little flip for something I drug. I mean, I literally had to drag it out of a barn, you know, hooked to the big old tow chain, hooked to my driving a minivan, and drag it out of the barn. We had to cut down a tree to get the barn doors open and everything. But I'll take those flips.
Yeah. I did buy a truck a couple of years ago, a 95 F-150. It had like 100 and, no, not even 75,000 miles on it. And I drove it around for 18 months and I sold it for 4,000. So that was a flip that wasn't intended to be a reselling deal, but yeah, there was that.
I think the most expensive single item I sold, a milling machine for 7,000. It was a real high-end German machine, and I think I paid 2,500 for it, if I remember right. This was a long time ago. But the guy, what I do remember is the guy drove all the way from Texas to pick it up, which is quite a distance.
That's a hike, yeah.
Yeah, he wanted it really bad, and he didn't want a shipping company messing with it.
Right.
That sucker was so friggin' heavy. I remember there was 4 of us, and we couldn't even slide it an inch in the truck. It was ridiculously heavy.
That's we need a forklift and a sling to move us up that big.
Yeah.
Denim Labels says, in my next life, I want to hunt for barn cars every day.
They are still out there.
Yep.
I pulled out and made money on several cars, MGs, Triumphs. I mean, really, it's just a matter of setting up your searching Craigslist every day, looking for stuff, and then, quite frankly, most of the stuff is never going to make it to Craigslist. You got to start talking to people. That's how you find barn cars. You talk to the people, get those small towns, and just go to the local diner and just say, I like to buy old cars and fix them up and sell them, and just someone's going to spout out, well, Bob's got that old car out in the back of his barn he's never going to do anything with, and then it's a matter of getting out there, figuring out what it is and what it's worth. Yeah. Believe me, I've had a couple that I wish I had the money for to buy. They were serious dollar cars. So
there's a yard sale here probably 5 years ago now. The lady was selling off all of her husband's stuff. They had just gotten divorced. And one of the things that was still at the house was a 68 Chevelle. And guy came up and he's like, are those cars for sale? There's also like an old pickup and another station wagon or something. She goes, yeah, they're for sale. Everything's for sale. I'm getting out of here. My husband was a dirtbag, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, how much you got to get for that sports car there? He didn't say the name of the year or anything, just called it a sports car. She goes, I don't know. How's $3,000? He was like, yeah, pulled something, made the deal. So guy walked away with a 68 Chevelle for $3,000.
Yeah, there's some difference there. I mean, I didn't have the money at the time, but I passed up a 67 Corvette.
Damn.
Yeah, it wasn't that much money. I just didn't quite have that much on me and couldn't get it. That car is a $500,000 car nowadays.
Yeah,
it was the big motor Corvette.
427.
Yep. But yeah, that's a tough game to play in, because you're talking about, you need 5 to 10 grand pretty much at any time.
Yeah.
And you've got to make sure that what you're buying is accurate and right, and then flipping it can also be tough. I mean, but if you're in a good area, you can usually, you can do well with it. I mean, people flip barn cars all the time. I mean, that's what it drives me crazy when, we're in the morning show talking with Valerie when she was searching for cars, and we'd search her area, and the cars that even down in Dusty's area, the cars that he has and that she had down in her areas, they're getting $800 to $1,000 for it. I bring them back up to where I live at, and they're $3,000 or $4,000 cars.
Yeah.
Because up here we're we're in the Rust Belt, so everything falls apart.
Well, if you see an AC Cobra for about $100, let me know, Eric.
Yeah, I'll manage to scrape that one together, but yeah, I mean I missed out on a Porsche 914 at an auction. I didn't bring enough cash with me, and it only went for like 4 1/4, and I had like 350 on me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough, but it was definitely repairable, and they had just a ton of extra parts with it. And I was looking at, if I didn't put it back together, I was going to sell it for part. Take all the parts off and just strip it out and sell it. $63 was a year for the split window coupe.
I don't find that much, talk about Craigslist. I mean, to find things to resell.
Yeah, I don't find cars about the only thing I look for on Craigslist to resell.
I've been sitting here looking. I wasn't ignoring y'all. I was just shopping Craigslist.
Yeah.
But our area just really sucks when it comes to most things. I mean, yeah, you can find stuff. I mean, it does exist, but
I've done fairly well with the Facebook, the new Facebook marketplace section on the phone.
I forget about it.
Yeah, I found a couple things like free, like plug and play video games new in the box. You're like, oh, free. Drive out there and get it and make $200. Or somebody was selling an old slot car track. It was an Aurora set, Smokey and Aurora. It was Smokey and the Bandit themed, but they couldn't say Smokey and the Bandit. So they said like Smokey and the Aurora 18-wheeler or whatever it was. Yeah. And sold that for $65, I think, because it was missing the cars. But the track itself is still worth stuff, and it had the transformer and actually 2 extra paddles. So if it had the cars, that would have been an easy 100, 120.
That's really funny how some of that, I mean, slot car stuff just doesn't, bring as much as train stuff does.
Sure.
Because I mean, guys have been collecting train stuff forever, but the slot car stuff is okay, but it's still, I don't think it's ever going to pass. I mean, I've seen trains sell for, thousands.
Right.
Just strange.
Yeah, slot cars have always been, like, trains have always been kind of pretty good. Like, they'll dip a little bit, but it's not like slot car stuff gets really hot and then really, like, not.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about cars again?
Yeah.
We got 6 thumbs down already.
Well,
I just happened to look over. I was looking to see how many people we'd run off, and y'all are still sticking with us. So
Those are just people that don't like Jim himself.
yeah.
could be.
It's
No.
Actually,
content.
I'm actually surprised that my shows don't get more thumbs down. Like 6 is a lot. Like, usually we end the show with, 0 or 1 or 2, but
Today's a very low energy day because I think we're all really tired.
yeah.
It's kind of been a weird day. I haven't bought anything in a while. I mean, just a couple of things this week, and that was it.
I'm about to start chipping. I haven't been listing a whole lot lately, and I've been chipping away a little bit of what I have left of the storage unit stuff that's here. And I've got to. That's my goal this week, is to go back down to the warehouse and just get another load of it and bring it back and work on it. I don't really need to buy anything. Of course, there's always that you've still got to hunt for some home runs. There's not gonna be home runs in that stuff too, though. It's like what were you saying one day, Eric? There's nothing like putting stuff to the side and forgetting about it, and then going back and looking at it 6 months later. It's like shopping. It's like shopping for Christmas in your own inventory.
It is. It's like thrifting in your garage. I mean, or you're thrifting in your warehouse. Sometimes you forget what you bought because the stuff you bought had better stuff in it, but there's still good stuff out there. I mean, I go out to my garage. I've got good stuff out in my garage. I mean, it's just it's not as, I mean, I owned it already, so it's not quite as much fun, but every now and then I go out there and I grab a tote and I'll drag it in and what do I got? And, go through it. And I usually, find a couple $100 worth of stuff in each tote.
Yeah, I was digging around the other day in the warehouse, and I might have told you, I don't know. I found a pair of floppy drives, 5 1/4, for an Altair computer. And I was like, ooh, nice.
Yeah.
And there's someone up there that's selling one right now, but he has the controllers and stuff and another board with it, and he wants like $2,000 for it. So I'm just gonna throw them up for like 500, see what happens.
Right.
But I totally forgot about them. I bought them in like a box lot. I swear to God, I paid like less than $5 for the thing. And it was just a box I threw to the side when I sold everything else. I just totally forgot about it.
Yeah, I was digging through a box today. I found a box of precious stones that I'd forgotten I had. And I didn't buy it long ago. I remember buying it, and I set it aside, and it kind of got buried in something else. And it's a couple $100, but
we were also talking about it too yesterday or day before. Jennifer said, I'm listing a lot of low dollar junk I need to get rid of. Denim Labels said I have so much paper and ephemera I won't ever list it. And we were talking about that, like the stuff that I'm down to now, that's here right now from the warehouse. I feel like I'm nickel and diming. Like when I was listing, was it yesterday? I was like, why am I listing this $9.99 crap when there's better stuff down there? It's not that it's bad stuff. Save it for a rainy day, but that's not going to make me an income unless I list a whole lot of those items. And they're difficult. They're little computer chips and stuff like that. A lot of it will end up lotting up. And I think at some point you have to go, okay, what am I doing jacking with this small stuff? Let's move over to the meat and potatoes, and I'll come back to the small and save it for a rainy day. And if you run out of bigger home run items, then that's the point that usually I go out and look for more stuff, because you still need those home run items coming in.
Yep. I mean, that's, I out of that big auction I bought, I finally dug myself down where I grabbed a projector, threw it up, and sold overnight for $100. I mean, a slide projector. I was shocked it brought that much. And I got another one I just dug out again to throw up, and that should actually bring a little bit more. It's a little bit better model. It's kind of silly. I mean, you know the stuff's there, you buy it, you mean to put it up, and then but if you got a lot of stuff, you're going through a bunch of it, and then you get the next load in, and it kind of gets pushed to the back because the new stuff is the pretty shiny stuff, and you want to get that stuff up. And
Denim Label says I got just got postcards about 7,000. See, I'll get in the mood with stuff like that though, where I just, hey, I'm going to list 200 postcards today, and then put them on the back burner.
Right.
I have found that postcards do so much better at live auction. I mean, you can do well selling them individually, but it takes a long time. But a live auction, you put a box of postcards up, you can get 90 to 100 bucks out of a box. And I hate stamps are a pain in the ass.
Stamps are a pain in the ass. I've got some listed, and I've done well with some, foreign ones, like really old Indian ones and stuff like that, but they got to be really, really, really old. And then the rest of them I just kind of throw to the side, and eventually I'll get around to doing something, running them through an auction or doing something like that with them.
Sometimes you just don't have time for stuff. Like I've got, like you guys were doing slides and stuff. I mean, I've accumulated, since you guys have been talking about it, I've been slowly buying them. I've accumulated must be at least 10,000 friggin' slides in the closet over there. And I swear to you, I haven't had the time to look at one.
But that's a fun thing to do. I love looking at slides because you just sit there and go back and just kind of flip through them. And if you've got a little slide viewer like I do, where you can actually just kind of flip through them really quickly and they're backlit, you see one that's good, you pull it out, you throw it to the side. Otherwise, you just build lots.
I do it for a change of pace, like that, or postcards or something like. Okay, I don't feel like doing research on individual, microchips and crap today. But hey, these postcards are a no-brainer. I can knock 25 of them out. Let me just do them real quick, and that's fun,
Yeah.
Speaking of IKEA little clips I was talking about, there it is right there. There's one of them. Love those things.
I think part of this is also triaging the stuff that you have, you know, and knowing what to spend time on and what to, you know, burn through and just get listed, what to work on right away and what to wait on.
Well, what's worth your time also, you know?
Right.
If you have a lot of other stuff listed that's going to be selling and bringing in money, then there's nothing wrong with spending a day, you know, doing postcards. But if you're a fairly new seller, you know, that you have kind of mediocre, small dollar items or whatever, and then you start listing a bunch of, I don't know, $7.99 or $9.99 postcards, that's going to be end up in the end, in my opinion, going to be end up being more detrimental because of all the time you spent on it, you know, versus listing some higher dollar items.
Uh-huh.
It's always better to sell the higher dollar items first as soon as you know, buy the whatever lot you accumulated.
Yeah, you want to make the money back that you just spent.
Right away.
Plus some.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do. I like to list those things right away, get my money back on the auction. Then I know it's paid for, and I'm kind of take my time getting the rest of the stuff out.
Yep.
PVC headliner is not a great projector. Cool looking though, but not big dollars.
Put steampunk in the title.
I mean, it's still going to sell. It's probably going to be a $40 to $50 projector by the time you get shipping figured in and everything. But if you pick them up cheap, who cares?
Speaking of which, those 25 train postcards that I listed, remember that was a week ago tonight. They've been trickling in. I've been sitting here watching my email, watch the notifications come in. Didn't get an opening. $9.99 bid on a single one of them.
Yeah, you're just going to lot them up. That's what you're going to, because they've been cut. That's the only thing that's hurting them.
Well, but I think the photo, because I put where each one was, which train line, which whatever. So I think what I'm going to do is, which I actually am doing as we speak, I switched them all. I went in the bulk header, said, you know, switch to fixed price. I relisted them all at $14.99, added best offer. I usually run a 20% off sale. They'll be like $11.99 best offer, and I'll just let them sit because they take up no space. And I've already gone to the trouble of doing the listing.
Yeah, it's not hurting. I mean, with the anchor store, you're not really hurting for listings or anything. So.
Yeah, whoever cut those for whatever stupid reason just killed the value on them.
Such a shame.
Yeah, although you look at collectors, like I said, I bought a bunch of those lobby cards that were all laminated. So that, I mean, that kills the collector value, but I've been selling them on a fairly regular basis. I probably made $75, $80 off my $15 investment. So I still got like 12 of them left.
But you still have to go out and buy stuff. I mean, you know, I catch a lot of hell on videos and stuff of, I can't believe you're buying more stuff when you got a warehouse full of stuff. Well, you know, it's still good stuff down there, and I still dig through and still find home runs like y'all were talking about. You know, but you still have to be out there looking for the NASA space pieces, or
Yep.
you know, if that sells for $1,000, I just paid a month's worth of rent. You know, you can't say, well, I'm not going to buy or do anything. If a deal comes along, you still have to be out there looking for those home runs.
I say that all the time. I'm not going to buy anything for the week and everything, and I'm always out there shopping every night on the online auction, shopping, you know, looking to see what's coming up live auction, and yeah, just because you never know when you're going to see that $5 item that you pick up that you know is worth $300 or $400. I mean, you can't pass that stuff up. You know, it's how you build up your inventory. It's also how you end up with a bunch of, you know, crap that's not worth what you hope it's worth, and it's also you start to change your expectations about what you want to get out of items. I mean, there's nothing wrong with selling $10 items all day long if you pay less than $1 for it, but you start selling $20 and $30 items, you kind of get used to that dollar amount. You know, I mean, your time is the same amount of time you spend to sell a $5 item or a $10 item is the same amount of time it takes to sell a $20 or $30 item.
Good night. Good night, Tom with an H. He said he's going to bed. It's raining like hell here. Lights keep flashing. Going to bed and listen to it rain.
Yeah, it's coming up this way.
Carlton sheets. I think I donated one of those.
Carlton sheet.
I'm not kidding. My wife was into real estate stuff. So.
You make money in real estate. Yeah, a lot of people did before the bubble.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, I love shopping and buying stuff and making money with it, but it's the fun part of the job.
It really is. Boy, do I enjoy buying.
Yeah. Yeah, denim labels rather list 20 items per week than 20 per day, which is true. I mean, if you're selling at a decent dollar amount, 20 items per week can be an income. But if you want to step your game up and sell those same 20 items and list those 6 days a week, I mean, you can really kick your income up.
No.
You need a good mix. You need a good mix of inexpensive, medium range, and high dollar.
Yeah.
It's
Now you got me in the mood to buy. I haven't bought anything in a while.
you're gonna buy something tomorrow.
I am?
That storage unit, aren't you?
Oh, it's 2 days.
The 2 days? I thought it was tomorrow.
I'm still iffy on it. I don't know.
Buy the alligator. Be the alligator.
Yeah, I think that one you need to go for.
Really?
Yeah.
The only drawback, I don't know.
I know you're in the midst of a giant listing move right now, but
Yeah. I'm on Listapalooza right now.
Yeah.
I'm working on like 300 something listings.
but that's not a very big unit. You could clean that out really in an afternoon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Although it is vintage electronics, we all know how shitty that stuff does.
Oh, yeah. That shit sucks ass.
I have an exotic wardrobe. No, I took a shower when I got home from the gym, and I put on shorts and a thrift store t-shirt. And it's cold here today because we had rain come through, and I put on socks and house shoes.
Fashion statement.
Huh?
That's a fashion statement.
It's all about comfort.
Mine is my son goes back to school tomorrow from spring break, so actually I can maybe get out during the day and do some stuff.
My chair. My chair becomes a clothes hanger for hoodies and things like that. Is it rude to eat rice cakes on a show?
No, it's not good to eat rice cakes no matter what time.
Not when you're sitting on the restroom, no.
I love rice cakes.
Rice cakes are disgusting. Aren't they, Cat? You don't eat rice cakes.
Is that a coaster you're eating?
No, coaster is much more flavorful.
Yeah.
Here's my other coaster.
God, I can't eat a rice cake.
Diet
I'm
beer.
devoid of anything. It's like eating air.
You know what? These are the caramel ones from Aldi or whatever, so they're not bad.
No.
Yeah.
I could do rice cakes with a little bit of peanut butter on them.
That's what I usually do.
A
Yeah.
little bit of peanut butter, scoop out chocolate ice cream, and some chocolate sauce. Yeah, I can eat a rice cake.
Well, some pepperoni on there, some hot sauce.
Styrofoam Pop-Tarts. That's a pretty good description, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Nikki's into that string cheese lately, or no, that whiz cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Cheese in a can.
Yeah, that would go good on one of those.
Oh,
That's my stepson's cat who abandoned him with us. Mainly because my son absolutely loves the cat. So
hold on, I'm doing something.
LV Looper said, what I do with rice cakes is get them out, throw them in the trash can, and make a cheeseburger. Actually, you should try a cheeseburger with rice cakes as your bun.
I know. I was just thinking that.
That might not. Yeah, if you
Be interesting.
cheeseburger, it might soak in and actually give the rice cake some flavor.
Right. And then you can market it as a health food.
True.
Kind of like the same way you throw a CD into a box and now it's media mail.
And someday you'll be older and wiser, and all those cheeseburgers will catch up with you. And then you go, there you go. He just said, but then I seem to go up a pant size every year. Yup.
Eventually, you maintain them.
Yeah.
You plateau.
Yeah. Or you fat toe. When you lose weight, it's plateau.
Is saving maybe 10 years off your life, but it's at the end of your life, and those are the crappy years anyway.
Yeah.
What was Jim's text last night? Said something. You said, "I fat."
I fat too, or something like that.
So apparently, Jim had date night last night that involved Italian food and wine. And
Jim and his lovely bride
Yes.
imbibed a little too heavily.
And having to make heads or tails of his text messages that were very cryptic and misspelled.
I think I gave up after just couldn't quite understand where he was going with it. And
iFat. What is that? Like the new Apple?
I gotta go back and let's see.
Oh yeah, and then you said you were naked or something. And I was like, how many glasses of wine did you have? And you mumbled something, so I just started typing random letters back to you.
Well, he goes, "Oh, Ashley's sick," and I'm like, "Is that because you're naked or because she had too much wine? You weren't clear."
Yep, that was a night.
Gotta have those every now and then.
Yeah. Gotta unwind.
All right, so nobody likes my rice cakes. I normally do put peanut butter on them. I just didn't feel like doing it right now. Might just have a prune.
Okay, so I said I'm naked and Ashley might puke. Dusty then says, "Who's driving?" I said, "I'm home, all waddy." Eric asked, "Is Ashley puking because she's sick or you're naked?" I said, "Probably I fat." And that's pretty much where it ended. Yeah. Oh, they just kept bringing wine. Like they don't normally do that. Normally it's one glass, and it's like a good 5-ounce glass with your course, and there's 5 courses, so you get 5 glasses of wine. But they kept coming back around and refilling.
You know, you could say no at any time. Right?
Yeah.
Hit me again.
Well, it's included with the dinner. You're going to turn that down.
Right. And I think the distributor was pushing some new brands or something.
You know, it's like a dog when you put like dog food down, like an infinite supply, and it just keeps eating and eating till it explodes.
Did you talk to anybody else? Because, I was asking you about that, if it was one of these wine dinners where you sit at a table with other, did you meet anybody new, or did you just kind of hang to yourself?
There was new people. But no, we don't really talk to anybody. It's just us in a booth. So
New people?
yeah, there was some new faces there.
Wait, Jim, you fit in a booth?
It's got you can move the table.
Oh, okay.
So I push it out to her because she's all skinny, and I'm like,
I'm not being rude because I have the same. I usually don't get a booth.
That's what I
When
said.
you're a certain size, you look at a booth as more of a challenge than a seating spot.
Right. So whenever we're asked if I want a booth or a table, it's always, does the table move or can the booth slide? Like, if it's not one of those two, I'll take a table. Unless the chair has Arms.
Arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think all restaurants that have chairs with arms, because then I just stay forever.
Yeah.
Give me a nice, comfortable chair. Don't let my drink glass run empty, and I'm good to go.
Yep.
Be the worst food in the world, and I'll still stick around.
Yep. When we were there at the end of the wine dinner, they pass out a list of the wines that you drank, and you can order them. And
Like you were capable of making that kind of decision.
well, no, I was the one that kept it under control because I was asking Ashley like, "Oh, what do you want to order this month?" And she goes, "How about a case of Moscato?" I'm like, "Let's slow down there, lady."
I'm still drinking the case of Zimas that you got.
This is the Moscato. It's actually the best one we've ever had. It's La Marja Moscato d'Asti. It's backwards on my screen. I don't know if it is up there, but
Moscato d'Asti La Marja.
yeah, La Marja. Yep. And the guy, like, it's really cool if you ever have the opportunity to go to one. They tell you all about the wines, where they're made, and how long they've been in the barrel, and then in the bottle, and so on and so on. But this is
sparkling. That's the sparkling Moscato. Because
yeah,
sparkling. I'm not much on Moscato. For me, is too sweet anyhow. But if Tristan likes it, it's more of a girly.
This is the Buttafuoco. That's what I call it. It's Buttafuoco, but I call it Buttafuoco.
Wait,
that was actually
after that guy.
I don't know.
What was it? What was their name? Amy something?
Yeah, Amy Fisher.
Amy
Fisher, yeah.
Yeah. No, this is a red wine. It's actually pretty good. I think that's what Ashley threw up. So we bought a bottle.
We bought a bottle.
Fishing and Pickens asking, how did I get home? Did I Uber? No, yeah, I actually drove because it didn't hit me until probably like 20 minutes after we stopped. But it was all right to drive.
He started in a minivan and then he ended up with an I-8 in his driveway.
Yeah. Still has that cracked fucking bumper though.
Yeah, Jim's driving. He doesn't need to be drunk to have accidents. So
I've ridden with Jim, and I would just say one word: fast.
I'm not that fast of him. I might go 5 or 10 over the speed limit.
Did you just get a speeding ticket for like 50 miles over or something?
No.
that was 50 in a
School
20.
zone?
Come on.
No, it was 39 and a 25.
School.
But it was a school zone, yes.
Yeah. Those little bastards need to dodge cars sooner or later.
And I threw a wine bottle out the window.
No, I've actually got my my argument in court all figured out, so I think I'm going to be all right.
No, good.
They changed the sign over the weekend. That's enough of an argument. So.
Yeah, I mean, they changed the sign in the last week. The sign is at a merge point, so with the increased traffic, there's a lot more merging that you have to watch out for other cars, so you might not be able to pay attention to every single sign. And the hours are all messed up. It's like from 2:59 to 3:47.
That's what it says on the sign?
Yeah,
Bizarre.
Are you going to represent yourself?
I am.
Yep.
You should make a video.
If I could, I would. I don't think the judge would take too kindly to that.
No, you can't really take your phones into the courtrooms.
Nope. But yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, I looked into hiring a lawyer, and it would be $175 to get represented, plus court fees of $188. Well, my ticket's $250 plus the court fees, so not really saving anything.
But if they got a guarantee on their win,
Yeah, like a points reduced because you know.
Yeah.
How many points are you allowed before you have to go to like driving school or whatever?
I think it's 9.
well, the good news is, since you're moving here, the city of Huntsville has a program where if it's your first offense, you can just go before your court date and agree to take defensive driving, and they'll drop it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the city of Huntsville doesn't have police.
You've got that one. You've got one get out of jail card free right there automatically.
Yeah. Yeah, Zilke said the NC ticket he got cost him $200 for the lawyer and $264 in court fees for an 87 and a 60. I'd rather just go down there and do it myself. Roll the dice.
Are you gonna be pissy for like a week if you lose?
No,
you're gonna lose.
You think I'll lose?
Oh yeah.
And
I've done it once and won.
And if he does, how much different will that be from any other day?
Yeah. Now you just count on losing. You count on going in there and losing. If you lose, you lose. If you win, it's a lucky.
Normally, every time I've gone and I've represented myself in court on tickets, the two that I've gone to were both really cool. Like, if there anybody here that needs to speak to the magistrate, and they basically, like, the judge didn't hear each individual ticket, you just went up, talked to the magistrate, and I basically just walked up and said, listen, here's the deal. It was the same thing. It was a construction zone on the highway kind of thing. And I just said, and it's been 15 years ago. I don't remember exactly what the whole situation was, but I basically said, I'm going to win this. I got this going. The cop isn't here today. I'm going to ask the judge to throw it out. And he goes, you know what? I'll just throw it out. I was like, okay. That was it. I didn't have to see the judge.
Right.
Because they knew they were going to lose anyhow.
Around here, I've got they got what's called a prayer and judgment, I think it's called, where you can do 17 hours of community service and they'll drop your ticket and your points.
Oh, you should just pay the court case. You look good in an orange jumpsuit.
I'm wondering though if my soccer coaching counts as community service.
That would be freaking great. Just driving by the highway and see your ass picking up trash.
It's not that kind of community service.
Oh.
I could do anything but not volunteer for churches, which is odd.
That is odd.
Yeah.
But you got to separate church from state, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be a non-religious cause. So I'll go work in a soup kitchen for a couple hours, bring the kids.
Oh, yeah, great. They'll get fed.
Yeah.
One for you, one for me.
Wait a minute. Let me try this soup first. Just drink it straight from the ladle.
They can't do a PJC. That's the prayer and judgment. They can't do if it's in excess of 15 miles an hour in North Carolina.
Really?
According to AVVO, which is the attorney, website or whatever.
The reason they're going to lose is because it's a school zone.
Wait, in excess of 16 miles an hour?
15.
Oh. Well, I was 39 and a 25, so that's 14.
Yep.
Right there. I don't know.
Currently in North Carolina, the DMV will recognize 2 PJCs per driver every 5 years. If you plead guilty or get granted a third PJC within that 5-year period, the DMV will not recognize it, and conviction will affect you just like any other guilty plea.
Yep. I'm going to ask for it.
I haven't had a speeding ticket since 2003.
That was my first one since I first started driving, like 97, 98. Actually got 2 in one night.
I did that once, got 2 at the same time.
I was driving over the Inlet Bridge in New Jersey. I was speeding. I knew it. I was young and stupid. And I got pulled over, and the cop gave me a ticket. So I was all pissed off, and I started driving away. And I was driving, 10 and 2 and in the speed limit because the cop was right there. Once he left, threw it into second gear and got back up there. And another cop pulled me over, and I did the stupidest thing. I got pulled over, and then the cop says, "You know how fast you're going?" And I was a total dick. I was like, "Yeah, I already got a ticket." And he was like, "Well, you're gonna get another one."
Oh, Jim.
Yeah. Yep. That was in my Camaro.
That's rule number one. Do you know why I pulled you over? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. That's the worst thing you can do.
Say no.
Say no. Unless you truly don't know.
Right.
I mean, it can affect their attitude and whether or not they give you a ticket, but it can also be used against you later on if you go, yeah, because I was speeding.
Right.
And go to court and try to fight it.
Yep, that can affect you that way, but the cop will actually write you faster if you lie to him than if you're truthful with him.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing the cop's looking for out of you is, do you know why I pulled you over? He's looking for the truth. And so if someone lies to him right off the bat, you're getting a ticket. Because they assume that everybody who knows, like I said, and cops are pretty good. They know when someone's, truly going, no, I have no idea why I pulled you over or why you pulled me over. I mean,
actually, Low Country Antiques is saying you don't have to do community service in North Carolina for a PJC, whatever it's called.
No.
Why don't you check into that before your court date? Or does that something you have to do at the time of trial?
I think I have to go to court. They have to say that I would qualify for it, and then they'll continue the case until that 17 hours is done, and then I have to bring like a record that I've completed that service on letterhead and all that.
So just out of curiosity, if coaching is not acceptable, what would your choice in community service be? And what would your first choice be, and what would your last choice be? Because I would like to hear this.
My first choice would be probably something to do with like a soup kitchen or a Meals on Wheels type deal.
Because you get their meals to them damn fast. You've already proven that.
Yeah.
What would your last choice be?
Probably something like garbage collection, like
Trash on the side of the highway.
cleaning up parks or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Low Country Antiques said, I got my ticket in Wilmington, North Carolina a month ago, and
Still waiting.
And something.
Yeah. No, when this cop pulled me over, he asked me if I knew why, and I was like, my seatbelt? I don't know. He goes, no, you were speeding. I was like, it's a 35. I was doing 39, so yeah, I was going 4 miles an hour over. He's like, no, it's a school zone. It's 25, and the only school that's there is a charter school. That's a high school, and the public high schools around here let out at 2:30. So I was like, it's 3:45. What? I was like, the school's out. He goes, no, dude, go back and look at the sign. It's and that's when he said the weird hours.
3:47.
Yeah.
Does it have a flashing sign?
No.
You might be able to win that one then.
Yeah.
Low Country Antiques. Okay, so Low Country Antiques, you're saying that you do have to go, and when the district attorney asks what you want to do, tell him you want a PJ or PJC or whatever it's called, and then you don't have to do community service, because that might be a win-win. Because what I was reading, you still have to pay the court cost. You don't have to pay the ticket, but you still have to pay the court costs.
Right.
And if that keeps off your record, that might work. But I don't know, and of course, Zilke would probably know, when you move here, does Alabama pull? I know there's some states where they don't pull, like Alabama doesn't pull Tennessee, because I know somebody, I was talking to them the other day and they got a ticket in Tennessee and they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. Alabama doesn't pull Tennessee. But I would think when you move here from a new state, yeah, they're probably going to pull your past state, I would think. I don't know how that would work.
Well, they're not going to care. The only reason it's going to affect you is for your insurance. And if you really, you've got that accident now and then the ticket, that's probably going to be an effect on you.
Well, the accident, I've got accident forgiveness, so that's shouldn't go up for that. I didn't even claim my half, so
Because you fixed it. Thank you, eBay.
Yeah.
Not to mention your deductible probably didn't cover it anyways.
We're gonna pop that dent out when you get here, dude. That'll be so easy.
No, I mean the whole the bumper's cracked from top to bottom. So.
Oh, then you won't care if I screw it up and I'm popping the dent out from the inside.
Yeah.
Hair dryer, tell me that'll work.
Don't worry, I'm sure you're like here to hit a deer or something driving up to Dusty's place.
Yeah.
Got tons of them out there, right, D?
I have to drive if I'm driving home at night or after dark. I go literally, it's like a 35 mile an hour, and I go about 30.
Yeah.
And just literally like keep my eyes peeled on either side. They're like freaking kamikaze deer. And they cut back both sides. They cut back both sides of the road about 15 feet back into the shrubbery and trees and stuff. Came through and a crew worked on it for a week, but
Deers with a little round circle, the kamikaze circle.
like,
But like, that would be a bullseye technically, so that would be a good idea.
what kind of dumbass animal are you? Like, you see, I mean, I guess their brains don't comprehend, like, big thing coming toward you, big lights. Let's look and let's just run straight into it.
Mm-hmm.
What they do is they freeze because that's what they're designed to do. They say, "Oh, don't move. When you're in the middle of the damn road, you need to move," and they don't move.
Do those little whistle things that old people used to put on their front bumpers, do those really work?
I don't know. I would assume they'd have some proof of science in there. I mean, I don't know.
I remember those back in the 80s. People
Yeah.
always rocked those.
Fishing and Pickens said you could have a DUI and NC and still be able to drive in Virginia. Yeah. I had a friend that lived in New York City and he had to avoid driving in New Jersey. He's like, that's a big fucking detour.
Wait, you couldn't drive in what?
He couldn't drive in New Jersey. He got a ticket in New Jersey and he couldn't drive in New Jersey, but he was fine to drive in New York or Pennsylvania. So the big throughway to get from New York City to like Philly is the New Jersey Turnpike. It cuts straight through the state, and he had to go around.
So, did he have a New Jersey driver's license?
No, he had a New York driver's license, but they
In New
revoked
Jersey,
his driving.
You have a whatever. You can't come in our. God,
They
is there
revoked his-
anything you can freaking do in that state?
That's very regulated.
Good God, man, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know you're from there originally, and sorry to everybody in New Jersey, but
Yeah.
I lived there for a while.
nope.
It's like the armpit of America.
Yep.
You know, I used to defend that statement, and now I can't.
I used to go there about once every 3 weeks. At a store in New Jersey, Egg Harbor.
Yeah.
New Jersey lost all credit when Jersey Shore came on.
Those damn people weren't even from New Jersey.
That's right. I think most of them were from New York, weren't they?
Yeah, they were from Long
Long
Island.
Island, yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
I used to cut through Philly, and then I can't remember the road I took to get out to Egg Harbor. It was a highway. It was all like pine trees everywhere.
70?
No, 70 is down south. Unless it is, what is it 70? I'm curious. But I just remember I'd be driving there and it'd be nothing but pine trees on either side of the road for like 2 hours.
Must have been in the Pine Barrens or something.
Yeah, so I said 70. It cuts through it.
What was it that you got to watch out for? The Jackson Whites? Right?
Oh, you got
The Jersey Devil.
the Jersey Pine Devil.
Yeah.
Jason Hobber said I hit a deer last year, and the body shop gave me a hard time because I had a blood and dents on my fender. No police report showing it wasn't human blood.
Nice.
Wow.
It was 42. I take 42 all the way.
Yeah. Actually, I got into a one-car accident because I avoided a squirrel and I popped up on the curb. And my back tires, it was in the morning, so the grass was wet. So I ran into some fence. And it was like the new, like when the PVC fencing first came out, and this neighborhood had it all done up in the PVC fencing, and yeah, I destroyed about a good 200 feet of it.
I narrowly avoided a bird.
But all for a friggin' squirrel. So like for the next 10 years, I was purposely hitting squirrels, and then I would deduct $10 from whatever I paid to get my truck fixed. Talking about the Pine Barrens episode in Sopranos.
Oh, that was a good episode.
That was a
Wow.
good one.
So this is weird. It says possible. Okay, it's talking about it's some lawyer's website for Pennsylvania drivers.
Mhm.
It's like, what happens if I get a DUI in New Jersey? It says if you're convicted if you live in Pennsylvania, using that as an example, and you live in DUI, or you get a DUI, DWI, or whatever they call it up there.
Yep.
In New Jersey, Pennsylvania will not suspend your in-state driving privilege as long as it's your first offense. However, if you work or travel in New Jersey, you will not be able to drive in the state of New Jersey for the period of your suspension. And I think they're 3 years. What I was reading a second ago, 3 years on the first offense, or 3 months, or 6 months, or something. But that being said, the state can't just take away your license, so you'll be able to drive everywhere else. The state will simply suspend your New Jersey driving privileges.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's kind of like, I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm all for safe driving and everything else. Don't get me wrong. I think we all are. But, I mean, if you still can't commute, you know?
Right.
Oh, that's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he had to go all the way, and the top of New Jersey's a point. So he had to, like, not that he did it every single time, but, you know. All right.
Mandatory 90-day suspension in Alabama.
On a DUI?
Yep. Wow. All right.
I don't know. Ohio, it's only a 2-week suspension mandatory, and then the rest is court done.
Wow. Leisure Picker said, never been to Staten Island. I live on Harbor Island for a short time. About a third of the island is a golf course. About a third of Staten Island is a garbage dump. So
I'm just gonna say it's fish kill.
yes,
Yeah.
Fresh Devil Kills. Yeah,
Oh, first. Okay.
yeah, yep. I had a friend that lived less than a mile from there. It was not fun family reunion.
Can imagine going to the park. All right, what is that sound?
Wow.
That's my other dog.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's water again. Wow.
That's water.
Where's your hands?
It sounded like a horse, like close to a horse.
No. That's my dumb dog.
My brother-in-law, somebody said my buddy got DUI in a golf court. My brother-in-law,
A golf cart, you mean?
a golf cart, my brother-in-law did the same thing in Morris, Alabama, which Craig knows where that's at, a little tiny town, like 2 sheriff town or whatever, and 2 cop town. And I'll never forget, I had to go get him out of jail, and they kept him overnight. It's like, what were you doing? He's like, well, we'll talk about it later. I'm not much of a golfer. That's the only time I ever played golf, is if they let me drive the golf cart. I was like, I'll drive the golf cart and drink the beer. And then they'd tell me like all the rules, and I had to fill me on like what a warden or whatever they call him was that keeps control of the golf course. And like, you can only do 90-degree angles. And dude, I'm just off the path and going, and they're like, no, you can only do. I didn't go to jail though. It was fun. Yeah, I can't do golf. I got too much of a baseball swing. I tried it. I said, forget it.
Golf's too expensive.
Yeah.
I have a varsity letter in golf.
I just didn't
Do
find
you?
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I used to play with my grandfather back then. I mean, you could play, you know, 15, 20 bucks a round.
Yeah.
Up here, I mean, around here, it's like 150 is on the low end.
I remember being on the team. We played at some of the best damn golf courses around. They were all high-end country clubs. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah. That's all you've got here. Is like McGregor Downs. Pinehurst. That's where the U.S. Open is every now and again.
Well, we got some big ones up here. We got the Murfield where the Memorial's played at. But yeah, it's just, I mean, a round of golf is crazy expensive.
Yep.
I just never got into golf.
Well, in New Jersey, they had county courses, so you know it wasn't costing crazy money to get in, but they're not the most manicured, you know,
Hardly.
courses. Yeah.
And when I lived in New York, they had public and private courses.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got the same thing here, but even going to a public course, you're going to spend $100.
Nowadays,
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
You take 4 people and get a cart rental and all that, it's going to cost you $100.
Yeah.
Based on your total calories consumed for today, you are likely not eating enough.
There you go.
You know what? I'm not hungry.
Because you ate a damn rice cake.
Oh, I forgot to put the rice cake in. Hold on.
That'll up your calorie intake by 2.
Fit and Active 40. Actually, this is the lightly salted. I don't have the other one in here. I'll just do that.
Leisure Picker says there's 9-hole courses too. Those are fun.
yeah, I had when I lived in New York, that the public course, it was in a big park, and on the left, and it was a lake there, and on the left side of the lake was a full course, and then on the right side was a par 9.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool because that one wouldn't be so crowded. So, you know.
Yeah, that's what we would do. My grandfather and I would play the 9-hole. They're all par 3s, 9-hole course. We just run through it twice.
I like friends.
You allowed one more rice cake?
I don't have any more rice cakes. That was the last one. We just went to Walmart today, and I forgot to get more.
Is that prunes?
Mm.
No wonder Dusty's been losing weight.
That's like giant raisins.
No, they're not.
They're more like little plums than giant raisins.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. LV Looper asks, "Why do you hate your stomach?"
I don't. I have since I started losing weight, working out. I've not felt better. I don't have digestive issues.
Ever since the car accident, which, by the way, folks, I was in a car accident probably 10 days ago.
Oh,
Ever
really?
since
I didn't even know. I thought you were talking about
You
like
did
an
not?
accident.
no. This is like
Nobody
10 days
told me.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but
Uh.
my back's been hurting, like right where my liver is, and it's not because of the drinking.
It's not due to the 10 or 12 bottles of wine.
It's not because of my liver's black.
I really don't drink that much. Before last night, the last time I drank was at Dusty's house.
Yo, your exact comment
It's
last
bad
night
influences.
was the last time I drank was Dusty's, wherever the hell that was.
Yeah.
Drinking 40s and prunes.
Was
Were
I
you making a
vlogging?
video?
I was not. It's not because of the butterfucko, no. Man. All right, well, I think we're going to stop the show here since nobody said anything for about 15 seconds.
Yep.
I'm so tired, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. Wow.
So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking around through all the car talk. Not much reselling tonight, but hope you had a good time.
Wow, there were 70 people watching us, right?
Yeah,
Holy crap.
yeah. What a
Oh, there we go.
shitty show.
It's shut down.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, we got 9 thumbs down now. That's like a record, Jim.
Man, I feel like this show was worth it. Like it deserved that 9 thumbs down.
We didn't talk barely anything about reselling.
No.
Again, I blame the audience. They didn't ask enough questions.
Jennifer asked how my car is. The van, if you go back and watch one of my videos, if you haven't seen it, my van has a dent on the passenger side bumper. Now that dent is like a crack and a bigger dent. That's really about it. I had to replace a headlight, so not a big deal. So,
Feelings are hurt more than anything.
yeah.
But he gave it a participation award.
The other guy's car was a little bit worse.
I thought you were going to say that scroll was pretty fucked up.
Duct tape, yeah. That's the plan, duct tape.
Hey, I sent y'all a picture of that Camry I saw the other day, and that lady did a fantastic job
Yeah.
finding taupe-colored duct tape that matched her car, and she had the whole right-hand side. It was just a wall of duct tape. It was awesome.
Yeah, pretty good, actually. Yeah.
It reminded me of a Caramello candy bar. Like, it was like that two-tone. I don't know. I'm fat. What do you want?
Be alone.
All right, guys. We're out of here. Have a good night.
Later.
Peace.